All right, you're live.
We'll have that opportunity. Have a great time. Can you hear me?
Oh, yep.
Thank you. Let's open the meeting of the DuBois County Council budget review.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I think our first person here is the circuit court, for camp, I'm sure. The doors.
The door's open at 4:15, so it should be open. And our badges get us in, so. Well, before we get started, I can start the non-binding review, things that you guys need to look at. We won't do it till the end of the day, but,
Can you explain that a little bit again for everybody?
basically, we've got two different forms here that's for all the tax units that are binding. And it shows you their levy, and it shows you their, tax credits. So if you can mark that you saw them, and then at the end of the day, we'll do a letter of sign each one, or, you don't have to sign anything, you just have to mark, yes or no that you agree with them. That's right. So, there's those. How you want them.
Does well. Judge, why don't you go ahead and sit down? I guess we've already opened the meeting.
Oh, yeah, okay, I apologize. We're in the middle of an emergency at circuit court, and probably need to address that with you all today. I'm gonna get budgets today, so.
Okay. So
Catch my breath.
I think you got the budget pages. We're gonna start on page 12.
These are the pages that they're looking at.
And again, the only, I don't know if you want to say anything to begin with. I mean, going through your budget, there's not a whole lot of change. I know everyone's got a, the percent of raise that we spoke about.
Yeah, we just kind of kept it where it was last year for the most part. I think we added the 2%. And I will say, I don't think, I'll put my employees up against any court reporters in the state. They, 4 court reporters that do a really bang up job. I know that I would encourage the council at least at some point to look at longevity pay. I still don't think it's fair that obviously you can start somebody's lower than, but there's no longevity pay. There's no performance pay. 2% doesn't even keep up with the cost of living increases. I understand with what the State House has done to you all, that you're kind of in a bind and trying to figure it out yourselves. But I would encourage that if you find the money, 2% doesn't even cover the cost of living increases this year. So, the number one asset in the county is its employees, and I think they deserve some recognition there too. But again, I do understand kind of the complexities of it and where you're at this point. So I appreciate that.
And I appreciate your comments. I think last year tried to set it up on this 2 years ago. Yes. So, just.
I understand. But other than that, I said, I think for the most part, all we're on page 12, page 38.
And on 12, there's a top department, it's again the $5,000 increase from 90 to 95,000 on the, Harper console. Is that just still going?
It's,
Or not that, I'm sorry.
That's the cost, I think, right? Or wait,
or yeah,
that's the,
Yeah, I'm sorry, cost of matching. So that, I mean, that's only the difference I see.
Yeah.
And then page 38. And that's again cost. There's no real change there either that I see.
That's my understanding as well.
That's the grant part.
Yes,
And that's,
and then 39, if you don't have any comment on that, and 39, the alternate dispute resolution.
that's our, it just says 5,000, but that's, I think may have explained that to y'all before, that we charge $20 on the filing fees for paternities and divorces. That then goes into that fund to pay for mediation and guardian ad litem services for people, that can't afford it. And the program has been really successful. A lot of people can't afford attorneys anymore, so they're filing pro se, and they're coming in to court for final hearings, not prepared, not knowledgeable of the law. And so the guardian ad litems have been helpful in reaching agreements, but then also using their abilities as attorneys to make sure those agreements comport with the law. Additionally, I always say that, well, we have a requirement of mediation. It's part of our local rules now. They're required to mediate, divorces and attorneys, anything involving children, because when you can get the mother and father to agree on a resolution, it's an agreement that they're going to be able to stick with and work through and co-parent, versus them coming to court, airing their dirty laundry, and then me telling them how they're going to parent. So that's what the alternative resolution program is. It's super beneficial.
Okay, well, thanks for the explanation. So really, I think that's all we have here, so appreciate you coming in and voicing your opinion on the pay. I think we had some discussion here when we said that, we don't know where we're at.
I
With these funds,
So
things being cut to helping the world.
I appreciate where you're at, and I understand, and I just hope that it's uniform across the board. You do it for one, you do it for all, not pick and choose between departments how you're going to do that. So
I'd like if you have if you have some strong feeling about that, I'd like to get that HR department involved. And I don't know if it's necessary, that's a program that's going to have to take some time and set up, because there's a lot of moving parts there.
Sure.
How we want to handle it. Do we have the funds to handle it? But that would be a way of rewarding someone for being here. But some people, think longevity isn't everything. It's
well, it's not. Some people have longevity. That's why there's a difference between longevity and performance. So.
And we like the comments I think we've had in the council is merit. We like more merit pay. That's the way to do that.
If you need any input or any help with that, I'd be glad to put together a committee or something. I'd be glad to sit on it.
Okay. Well, thank you for
All right.
coming in.
And I know it's budget, but I do want to, can I raise one issue, please? Matrix upgraded our computers in the courtrooms to Windows 11. Actually, all computers to Windows 11.
Right.
And it's been a disaster. I finally got my personal computer squared away, but our courtrooms were having real problems with Windows 11 and our recording system. They say it doesn't have enough RAM, but it's been going on 3 weeks. Last night, yesterday's hearings were so bad. It starts and then it goes offline and quits recording. So we have to stop what we're doing. We have to reset the computer, start over again. Last night, we couldn't get the computer back online. So the last hearing, I literally had to record on my phone. And then once we get this, so we left everything off overnight, came back this morning, and it's still offline. I've got an all-day divorce getting ready to start here in just a few minutes, and right now we can't record. So if Matrix can't get this squared away real fast, I'm probably going to I don't have enough money in my budget. I'm going to need some emergency funds to get the Jabs Corporation up from Louisville and get our systems up and running. we can't operate as a court without being able to record. The rules require the judges to ensure that a good record is made. I can't certify that at this point.
Do we still have the old machine you can put back on
No.
without 10?
No, we went to,
Everything's on
I talked
11.
to the guy last night at 4:30 when I got done with that last hearing. And I said, you have a computer that has Windows 10 on it. Just bring us a computer that has Windows 10 so we can get up there, no, they're all gone. So maybe we'll have to escalate this ticket. I said, escalate it? What are you talking about? Courts don't operate without being able to record. This should have been at the highest level from the very beginning, not some just, I'm having some little bug in my computer. But I know we've talked to the Jazz folks. Obviously it would be an emergency call for them to come up. I think they're out of Louisville. But at this point, my courtroom right now is dead in the water. I'll have to use the auxiliary courtroom, but it does. Judge Quinn's courtroom is doing the same thing. The auxiliary courtroom on the third, all three courtrooms, as soon as they switch to Windows 11, are having the same problems. And it's just like, we'll get to it. We'll get to it's not that. You can't just get to it when you want to get to it. So I'm just giving you a heads up that we may have to have some emergency appropriations or something. I talked to you, Sandy, but we can't go without being able to record.
Can you quickly explain what's Jazz for?
Jazz is the company that there's a couple different systems out there. It's called FTR for the record. Jazz is, we got a grant during COVID. We got a grant and upgraded our recording systems. They were like 25 years old. We went to this Jazz instead of what we had. We went to a different recording system. And they're out of Louisville. All courts in Louisville. And the nice thing about this system is if we upgrade it, it can not only audio record, but it can video record. But all courts in Kentucky used this company called Jazz for their recording. A lot of the counties in Indiana have gone to this program. It's just basically Jazz is a company that provides the recording equipment. And
Unlike Matrix.
it's the corporation that provides the recording software and equipment. So all the equipment, everything's integrated. But as I said, we're in a real bind right now. So I'm just giving you a heads up that if we may have to ask for an emergency appropriation or something to.
Any idea what that's going to cost?
We paid about the grant. We kind of went with a real plain Jane recording program with Jazz to begin with. It was to upgrade. And we went through Word systems out of Indianapolis. We will not use them ever again. Their customer service was. We'll go straight through Jazz. They'll come up from Louisville. But the grant was for $45,000 for the three courtrooms. That included all the recording equipment, microphones, everything. So that's what the system initially, around about what it cost to install. So
I worry what their lead time would be if you call it today.
They're working on it now already.
Jazz
I
is,
just called and they're working on it. They're talking to them.
I told them.
You mean Matrix or?
Call it.
I called Matrix and they're talking to.
Yeah, I called at 4:30 last night and I told them at 8 o'clock as soon as they opened up to start pulling their phone up. So I'm just giving you a heads up. I hope we can get this resolved quickly, but if not, we're going to have to make some leaps here because I got a murder trial coming up in 3 weeks that's still on the calendar. And I'm not going to do this for a murder trial.
on your phone?
Either on my phone or every half an hour, I have to stay. Oh, stop talking. Everybody stop. And you have to sit there for a couple minutes while we get the system.
disruptive.
Yeah.
Well, Jazz
it's-
needs to get Windows 11 ready as well. It's two sides.
I mean, Windows 11's coming, we have to
It
do
doesn't
it.
matter whose fault it is. The problem is we
We
can't.
gotta get it going.
Get it
Right.
going. When I called, like I said, when I called Matrix last night, it was apparently a fairly low priority ticket yet. So anyway, just giving you a heads up. Hopefully they get it and you don't hear from me and we're back up.
I'm
and
sorry you
running.
guys had to go through that, really, that's,
Yeah, it's just,
I'm to the point I'm about to cancel court until they get it fixed. It's that disruptive.
it's bad. But as I said, last night's hearings, the final hearings are still on my phone and I haven't been able to record them into the
did
system
you
yet.
get more cloud storage on your phone with that long, yeah.
So anyway, but I appreciate you all and I really got a long day, so I won't keep you any longer.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Lynn, are you ready?
Oh, yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Good
morning.
morning to you.
How's everybody doing?
Ready, kind of a little foggy, kind of surprised everybody this morning, I believe.
If you do 1 degree, just trust you 1 degree.
So for the public, this is Judge Quinn, and we're getting this recorded.
Sure.
And we'll start on page 13 of your Superior Court budget. So here again, it appears, it looks like on the wages,
I did include the longevity increase again this year. I know last year I had included that. That was ultimately denied. I think there was some talk amongst the council, but some of you were supportive to at least looking into that last year. I don't think that ever happened. At least I didn't get invited to participate in any discussions if there was one during the year. So we're back here again, and I feel the same way. I came in when Judge Verkamp was discussing that. I feel the same way that he does. Certainly all county employees deserve to have that consideration, not just my department or his department or whomever. I think all county employees should have that consideration. And it seemed like last year there was some interest in looking into that, and I don't believe that happened.
no, I don't think we did anything with it because I think we're all concerned about what happens at the legislature.
Well, to me, this is just my opinion, but our responsibility is our county employees. And I think we, as the department heads and you as the council, should look into this. We've asked you several times to do so, and I'm asking you again today to look into it between now and next year. I'm assuming you'll probably deny it again this year, but I think it's very important that it gets looked into between now and next budget cycle.
Would you help in that?
I certainly will, yeah.
Conversation. I think to me, it's still gonna fall on the HR department.
Well, then,
And, that's.
Get him on it.
Yeah, because they can do the research and
I don't have time to do the research, but I'll gladly participate and explain why I think it's important. But
so,
are there any questions otherwise?
not exactly, I think the wages, and I don't know, Jenny, if you want me to address this, are you gonna address this separately?
Are you talking about probation officer?
Yes.
Yes, I would like to address it today.
Okay, why don't you address it while we're on this page?
Okay. I did prepare a handout for everybody. I gave a lot of thought because it was my understanding that it was likely the 2% wouldn't be extended to the probation officers this year. And we know the state did not give us a raise. And I understand the salary schedule and how that works and county budget. So I came up with a solution that I thought was pretty good, where it could be offered to our the probation officers in addition to everyone else, and come out of our probation user fee fund.
Alex is gonna be one too.
Yes, okay, perfect.
Okay, there you go. So we had the problem, I understand the fiscal responsibility of this board and budgets and cuts, but I also understand that my employees work really hard. Probation is different than a lot of other county employees. We require specialized education And we deal with specialized caseloads similar to prosecutors and judges in the criminal justice system. Some of the things we hear in that office and see, same as them, people are pretty crazy in this county. And we're tasked with meeting with them, sometimes making sentencing recommendations to the judges on what we feel is good for community safety, as well as maybe rehabilitation of this person, if that's possible. So it's really difficult sometimes. We feel like we need to be attorneys to understand some of the laws, figure credit time. So it really is a specialized caseload for probation officers. They have to have those skills, certifications, ongoing trainings. We work with multiple agencies. The state puts mandates on us just like everybody else, and they don't give the funding for those mandates. We have an incentive program that's mandated. There's no funding for that, and I'm struggling finding a local source to fund that because people think it's a feel-good type thing, but evidence shows that it does work. We're mandated by legislation to do it, so we have to come up with a solution for that. So my request today is to extend that 2% raise that you're giving to other county employees to the probation officers. And a way to pay for that without affecting county general would be the probation user fee fund, which is the money similar to project income with community corrections that we collect from our probationers when they come in. And that's also mandated by statute. So that would be my request today.
Okay, so next year, in 2027, when we're getting squeezed around the corner from the state government, how do we, what if it's, froze again? So now you put 2%, we 2% on 2%, and then all of a sudden it's creeping up.
Yes.
And a lot of times in the past, I know, the state was given a 5% or 6% raise or more,
Yes,
and the rest of the county employees didn't get anything. So
absolutely.
there's two sides to it.
There absolutely is, yes.
I don't know, I think we have to decide here, and we'll decide here before,
And then if that, giving that 2% out of that, so then the years to follow to keep that 2%, would that be continuously paid out of there?
It could be.
It could be.
Now, I know we used to do it this way and the auditor's office didn't like it a whole lot. And I think it was difficult for you guys to have two funds for one pay, you flip back and forth. So it's possible, and that fund was created for this very reason. When that salary schedule was created many years to assist counties with implementing the raises, this fund was created, and that was a task to use for that one.
What is it used for now? Like what would be taken away because we're paying out? I'm just curious what's.
I'm very frugal with that fund. I don't pay anything out of it other than one of the employees right now. Because
Years ago, we used it for several of the.
we did, and then it was almost depleted, and then we tried to build it back up now, and it's pretty healthy right now. It's at a place where I feel comfortable continue paying the one employee out of there and benefits, and then adding these raises. And then next year, I think it could sustain it in the year after. We work really hard to at least bring in the minimum amount that I've come up that we need to bring up with every month to continue where we're at without decreasing that fund, going backwards.
And Sandy, what was the difficulty on your end? You were saying in terms of just keeping track of some of it being paid from that fund? You were saying it wasn't.
Well,
Just
years
being
ago,
added
a
to.
whole, 3 or 4 of the probation officers were paid from that entirely. And then when you start to split pays, you start to see issues.
Mhm.
And it can happen, we have people that do it.
We do have one that does have a split pay. One of my assistants gets paid out of part juvenile probation user fund. When we increased her duties years ago to manage Project Attend, we took part of it out of juvenile probation user fees, and you probably see that in one of the
Prosecutor
budgets.
used to have a couple, do they still? The victim advocate and the
Yeah.
investigator.
We have several departments that get.
We have
paid out
a
of
whole sheet of
multiple
people who get paid out of two or more funds. The juvenile or the adult used to be like $5. Remember that, a pay or something? I mean, they got real small amount and we got rid of that.
Well, and if we do like this 2% raise, it may be similar again, maybe 26. I didn't.
But you don't have
figure-
anything laid out of how
I
much
do
it
not.
would be.
No, this just came to me this morning as I was getting ready. I'm like, here's a solution. I have a problem, here's a solution. And this would be mine.
So what you're saying is that 2% is gonna get larger in dollar amount over the years because their pay is gonna increase. 2% is gonna be worth more over the years.
Yes.
You're saying that one fund is gonna be able to support that additional 2% indefinitely.
Indefinitely is a big word, but for the foreseeable future.
That's what we have to consider here.
Absolutely,
That's
yeah.
We can't, we don't want we don't wanna overspend, our funds. We can't.
I
So
did-
that's
yeah.
what we're always concerned with when adding new positions, is that not only gonna be able to sustain for the next year or two, if we're gonna keep that position, just like raises, we need to make sure that we're gonna be able to fund those in the future. So
Absolutely.
that's my big concern with that side of it.
I did just get the fund control report for this and I don't know if I should say them out loud, but it's very healthy. I foresee, unless people just totally stop paying their probation user fees, if my department collects that minimum of $11,000 or $12,000 a month, like we do now, we will be able to sustain it well into the future.
So should we be taking another probation officer out of that fund and going back like we used to do?
That was going to be my question.
Should we do what?
Should we be, instead of paying for one of them in general fund now, should we be going back and using that fund again?
We could do that, but then it's gonna drop it back down where we're
Right.
similar to where we were many years ago. But I mean, that is a possibility.
Okay, I think,
Food for thought.
You can't pay them fully out of that fund, that would be against statute, but you could partially pay them.
yeah, I think I would lean that direction. I think if we've got the funds in there, then why don't we pay for half of another employee instead? I just really feel next year, when the state doesn't give anything, or they freeze the wages next year, they could give a 4%, we can afford 3%. So
Yes,
it's going to catch up at some point. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably going to run on the time here. So, I mean, the only other thing I have on that page 13 is, I think it's the interpreter here, or no office supplies went up $7,000. I was wondering why that is on that line item, office supplies. Went up $7,000.
It went from 10.6 to 17.6.
And then, so I just wonder if that, why would something like that go up so high?
So Jenny, how can we pay Carrie out of that all now? We're paying her out of that fund fully now.
that's a good point. She was an assistant, not a probation officer, and that just changed. So we will have to look at that. We won't be able to, so I'll need to refigure that.
Do you have an answer for that?
I'm looking here, I don't recall why I asked for that increase at the moment.
So,
I may be able to answer some of that. So our probation budget falls under superior reports like supplies and training, and I know that it has increased for us with the training with the new probation officer, with that role changing and with Shannon coming on board last year when we lost an officer, like those fees all increase. I don't know if you took that into consideration. Maybe we didn't talk about that, but
Had you asked Nicole to increase it? Or-
it may be, Nikki and I work on that together, so it may be that was the decision made.
I don't recall a specific thing that I had in Superior Court that would.
So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying, training wouldn't go under office supplies.
No.
I mean, that's what, and then the interpreter, psychiatric, and medical went up about $8,000.
We've had more requests for mental health evaluations. I think we've already had to ask for additional funding for that because that was depleted here by June.
So, I guess with, to move on with this budget, and, the office supplies, do we want to look into that, or should we cut it back to 10,600?
I'll ask Nicole when I get out of the office if she recalls why I had increased that, and if I have an answer, I'll email the council and let you know what that specific reason was.
And then I guess we might as well, on this page, we might as well decide what we want to do, as a council here. Do we want to hold the wages, with the state froze the wages for the probation officers? And just freeze them like the state recommends? I guess I want to show of hands, who's in favor of that? Freezing the wages like the state says.
As opposed to doing this,
2%
out of their own.
But out of the other,
So we got
okay.
about 4 people.
Well, I just,
Can you show Ann, she's gonna make, I'd like to see it so you know. Are you against it or do you for it?
For, against what?
Or
Against,
you wanna freeze the wages?
and not do this 2%?
Yeah.
Out of their fund?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't personally have a problem with it coming out of that fund.
Well, if you don't, so we got 4 to 3, so. And then, the court reporter, the longevity raises, who's in favor of, including these longevity raises? So let's see, let's show hands or consensus on that.
And approving it? I think we need to do a little more research and I think we need to figure out
I guess for
to do it
today,
the right way instead of being rushed into it, actually.
well, what
I
I'm
think that's
saying
where we
is,
were last year. Is there a reason we didn't do it between then and now?
right, well,
Getting was informed.
I guess let me rephrase the question. The budget shows that the raises are in there. Who's in favor of that? Keeping it in there. So nobody's in favor of it. And then you'll find the answer on the office supplies.
I will, yeah, I'll
So we'll
respond.
move on to page 30. We've got the probation user. I don't see any user fees, I don't see any changes there, really. Except the probation officer Masterson, that 2% raise there. And then programming. Page 30, I think.
so we're gonna have to look at Carolyn's pay.
Let's see, 3,200, see. Programming, yeah. Yeah, I see $1,000, that didn't change either. And then on page 31, we have, the probationary user fees. And that's, I guess that's Schneider's in that position.
The juvenile, yeah, partially, yes.
So that, I don't see any changes there. Again, except wages. And then page 37.
Mike, can I clarify just on Schneider? She's a regular county employee, so I'm assuming she is getting the 2% raise
I
then.
think that's what's in the book, right?
Yes,
I think
that's what we did ask for, yes.
Well, Kerrigan will get her bump at 1 year anniversary. I think we already established that with the commissioners.
Okay,
And then 37, GMH grant.
Well, we put the JMH grant on here because nobody really takes ownership of it. We don't know where to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, we created a budget, the JRAC committee, I think's who did it, but we don't know who. We kind of created a budget because we needed something. And the sheriff put in the social worker deputy, but he put in a raise for that position in that grant, and the grant doesn't have a raise. So we didn't know what to do with it. Because we kind of didn't really get any guidance on it. Because that grant's another year yet, correct?
yes, I think so, yeah.
Looks like September 26.
But we didn't get it started. So it might get to carry a little longer.
Hopefully, a request would be made to extend it.
Right. So that's just like a unique fund in there. That's why it's purple. We don't really know what to do with it.
So this is through the sheriff's department technically.
It's through the JRAC committee. They got the grant.
I think the intent though, like the sheriff was to put his, under his budget. LifeSpring was to put that person under their budget and pay them.
Well, they're all in that fund. That's why they're together.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And I think Community Solutions helps manage
Yeah,
that
they do
fund.
manage it.
But
I think she's under Wyatt. Does Wyatt have the project manager under his? So you're kind of, I think, seeing duplications here. So Wyatt would have the project manager under his, the sheriff should have the sheriff deputy social worker under theirs. To come out of
funded
this
through
grant,
this grant.
yes, to come out of this grant. But I think you'll see them in their budget.
Essentially, what Jenny's saying is that probation nor I have anything to do with that.
We are on the
We're on
JRAC committee.
JRAC, but other than that, I'm not sure why it's being brought up under our budget.
We didn't know where to stick it, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
It's probably pieced out, like the sheriff should have the deputy social worker in his grant to be paid out of this fund,
Right.
out of this grant, or in his budget to be paid out of this grant. And then Wyatt would have the project manager in his grant to be paid out of, or in his fund to pay out of this grant.
But
Does that make
is
sense?
Tim the leader of the JRAC, or who's the leader of the JRAC right now?
Tim,
He is the president, yeah. There's several members on that. Alex, you're on that, right? So
So
there are
at this
multiple
point, we
members.
can't do anything as a council. We have to talk to,
It's got salaries in it, that's why we have it.
so when these people were hired or given this grant, do they anticipate get a raise each year? I guess that's my question.
No, I think the grant it was a 3-year with no raises in it.
yes,
So
I mean,
guess
how it was created.
That's what's going to probably happen. So,
And I do recall just sitting here thinking why we asked for the increase in the office supplies.
okay,
Small Claims is going to need a new copy machine this year, coming year. So I put that increase to cover that.
copy machine.
Yeah,
That's something we could probably put in Kim's thing.
So, I mean, I guess I don't. If that's the case, I don't think I have a problem with that.
we had gotten a estimate from Hoosier Business, and I forget the exact amount, but that estimate expired in June, so. And they said it's doing fine now, but there's no replacement parts for this model that they currently have, so once it goes out, it's done.
It's probably something we can budget in Kim funds.
That makes sense. Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else. I think we covered everything, so. I wish there would be, we'll definitely look into what you had requested as far as longevity.
And just one other thing I would like to mention with the budget, we did have our court, public defender that was under contract. He retired at the beginning of this year. So that kind of put some strain on our public defender budget. So I've had to ask for some additional funds there. In the interim, I have got 2 law firms to take that up on contract. So I have that under contract now, and that should bring down the cost of that
Well, thank you.
going forward.
Hard people to find.
It is, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you for the consideration.
I'll sit here. Introduce yourself to the
Sure.
public here.
It doesn't like being so close. It cuts the top of our heads off.
Thanks for coming in this morning.
Sure.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Beth Schrader, I'm the Du Bois County prosecutor.
So we'll start on page 7. I think it should be in front of you.
So for my budget this year, essentially nothing has changed except for one thing that I'm asking for. I did include the 2% raises, which was suggested. It's an easy year this year for us, given that it's not a new grant cycle. So we're kind of status quo on the grant, nothing special to figure out. The only change that I did add was I asked to bump up one of my employees. She's still in the same wage classification, but I bumped her to the top of the wage classification. So everyone else will be making $24.91 an hour, and she will be making $26.11 an hour. So less than $2 an hour more. I figured it up. It's around $2,100 a year extra for her. I did that because she does a lot of additional office administrator responsibilities. She does the payroll, she does payroll changes, she does the claims, she does my yearly budget, she does the inventory, she does all the reservations for conferences and trainings, she tracks and orders legal supplies and office supplies. She keeps a track of all the account balances and funds. And she offers support to the other assistants because she has been with the office for around 11 years. So she has the most experience. She has a lot of knowledge. I think that given the extra responsibilities that she takes on compared to the others in the office, it's fair to pay her slightly higher than the others. So that is my request for this year. In terms of percentage, I didn't figure that out. I don't know what percent it would raise it would give her, but it just puts her to the top of the wage classification at $26.11 an hour.
I think I calculated it's between 5 and 6%.
I had it at 6.8.
6.8, I think.
So that would be my request. It's the only thing that I've changed for the year.
Anyone have an issue with that?
I don't know, she's taking on more responsibilities and she's within our wage scale and feel that's justified.
Yeah, I appreciate that. As I said, she's been with the office the longest outside of me. And so she's been with the office significantly more years than the people below her. So I think it's fair.
I totally agree. So I think you gotta have somebody in charge.
Yes, I appreciate that.
If it's based on the additional responsibilities, not just the length of time.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
for that as well.
So we wanna have, that seems like the only big change. So anyone have an issue, let's do it that way. Anyone have an issue with that? Okay, so that'll pass. So then we have to go on to, page 30.
Pretrial diversion budget.
The only thing your rent went up on page 7, but that's kind of in the contract, I know. So I think that was set up at the time.
Oh, the child support budget.
I think you're in Mike Fritch's budget.
Yeah, I think Mike Fritch will come on.
He works under her, but
He does his own
himself.
budget. Yes.
Sorry.
No problem.
For the confusion.
She's on the top of the page, pretrial diversion.
And nothing's changed in my pretrial diversion budget.
Okay. And then the victim assistance.
Nothing's changed on the grant as well. We do pay the raise out of the pretrial diversion budget versus the grant because grant is, we can't pay raises out of that.
Okay.
Sandy, you can correct me if I'm wrong in anything, but
You're right.
we pay that out of pretrial diversion.
What you're seeing in the budget book is the 2-year grant cycle, so that's why it's 69,000. That's split over the
Yes, it's split over the 2 years.
wonky.
Yeah, we are 2 years, but yes, 2 years. So our grant expires September 30th of 2026.
I don't know, any questions for that otherwise? Otherwise, I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you trying to include races this year because I know that's important to the employees and I know you're squeezed, but they do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you guys.
But I can have her sheets.
Sure, I'm sorry. I got
it in front of me.
No problem. No problem. Thank you.
Donnie, whenever you're ready, we're ready for you. You can introduce yourself for the public and
This is what they're seeing,
start on
which Ann lays yours out kind of like that too. So.
start on page 32. You want to introduce yourself, though?
I never did this before, so.
Where do you want, which fund do you want him to start with?
It's totally different money.
Highway, this isn't how we lay out the book.
Okay.
Here's highway,
Okay.
there's 32,
Yeah,
there's
I'll wait
33
first,
here.
so.
So this starts highway,
They have long.
right, this starts highway, there's solid waste collection, there's local road and street. There's your sanitation, you don't need to talk about this one. So if you start with highway,
Alrighty, so am I
so
supposed to go down every one?
anything that's in this color is split out of two different paychecks. So
Yes,
he paid out
yes.
here and
Yep,
another
yep,
one, that's why
yep.
he's that color.
Yes, okay.
And then your increase. This increase, Michaela's right, longevity.
Okay,
So Donnie, I guess we'll start.
go
This
with,
is Donnie leading from the highway department. Highway superintendent or supervisor. So, on the highway, I think the first thing here is technically your salary. You know, it's above the, it shows on the gray on my sheet, but it's.
Yeah, sorry about that, it's a bit blue.
Anyway, 5% increase, and you know, everybody else in the, everybody in the county is getting 2%. So I don't know, I think we were sent out some information, I did some research, you know, on your, taking over, Steve Burke's job there, you know, Burke's job, that, you know, you had accumulated a lot of experience through the years, and, you know, I think it was an approach that you would, you were recommended for a 5% increase, so I think, and that's what did put you up to the annual for 2026, that last column there on your wages.
Okay.
So, again, discussion, if anyone here, I mean, I think he was recommended definitely by the commissioners, so anybody have a problem with it? Hearing none, we'll move on, so we'll approve that. And then the, I think Spade, the clerical person out there, I think it looks like, you know, that was always set up with the 2% raise plus, I think internally you guys do a longevity thing.
yes, yes. And that's, Michaela, have an extra 1% for longevity.
Right. How many years has she been here? Do you
She'll be there 5 years.
Okay. Anyone have any comments there? I mean, I think this is something for the newer people. This is something that's maybe one Steve ran this similar, and, you know, he does a good job with, and, you know, I'm sure Johnny's gonna do the same thing with, it's more, some of it's merit-based pay, you know, with some employees, and this is the other way of rewarding. So, comments on that from the council? Anyone disapprove of it?
I don't, what's to stop every department from putting this in there?
Well, when Steve created it, they created it with HR under, I mean, it was created, they do evaluations and they do all the things.
They're basically doing what I suggested that all departments do to basically justify the raises.
Performance
It's a good
reviews.
performance, yeah, performance reviews.
They're just calling it longevity.
Well, it's built into that review. They have a specific program they set up.
But this has been a long-standing program.
They've been doing it for many years.
I just want people to know that, so.
Yeah, it's not something that just created this year.
Well, why doesn't every department do it? Like, why isn't Ken doing it?
I can't answer that.
I'm sure it takes a lot of time to go through and do the performance reviews and different things.
I think Steve was getting a little slack from other people that's been there for years. That they've been there for, say, 20 years, driving a truck, they hire in a guy, and he makes the exact same pay. So that's why it's not much, but a little bit. That's why Steve did that.
which the highway turns over a lot more employees than other departments.
And does everybody automatically get the full raise that we put out? It's not necessarily,
Not-
right?
not
It's all
necessarily.
performance based.
Yeah.
Or well, reviewed and yes, okay.
It's kind of similar to what Wyatt does.
Right,
They don't
yeah.
necessarily get what fully,
Right, I just wanted to
Yeah.
verify that.
he stays within the amount of money that let's say a 2% raise would give his entire department. I don't think he's never gone over that amount with this system. So am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
So, I didn't hear any objection to it, so let's move on. Then the only, on that same category, the travel went up $2,000 from 3,000 to 5,000. I didn't know if there's a specific reason for that, or is the engineer gonna have to do more training, or?
He'll be doing some, yeah.
So,
Plus with the price of hotels and everything else, that's why they wanted to increase that.
do you go to the road, Purdue Road thing?
Yes.
What other kind of training? Is that basically for you and
Me and Levi both, as far as, yeah, that's for both of us.
the CDL? When someone has to take the CDL test, does the county pay for that?
A CDL, okay, whenever we try to hire somebody with a Class A. Of course, it's been hard to get people because there's truck drivers get paid a lot more than we do, so needless to say, if we can't get them, then we do have one guy in there that is a trainer, and he will actually train them and take them up there, and we pay for that. But I think they have to stay for, I'm not sure how many months it is. It might be 5 years, and it takes off so much every year. So if they just up and quit, then they owe back so much money.
I think that's a program that the commissioners help set up, right?
Yeah. But as far as the guys coming in with their CDL, they pay for their own license, they pay for their own physical, everything. So.
Okay, well, thank you. So we'll go to page 34. I don't think I have any other questions. Page 34, we'll have local road and street, I guess, at the top of the picture. So there again, there's not really any change that I see. If we did additional appropriations last year, I don't see any change in the annual budget request. And then the Cume Bridge. The only question I had is bridge inspection phase 1, $285,000.
Bridge inspections are every other year.
Yeah.
That's a contracted out, like
Yes.
Structure Point or somebody like that.
Yes, that's contracted out, and yeah, it's I think they get it 4 years, and then it's every other year
Yeah, like phase 1 is the even year, then there's an odd year, and then there's in phase 2, even year and odd year, and that's your 4-year contract.
yes.
Makes sense. Anybody got any questions on that 34 there? I guess then you have to go back to 11, sheet 11. And that's sanitation.
Mhm.
I don't think you haven't changed anything there. Questions on sanitation or comments? Okay, so we're okay there, and then back to 32. for solid waste sticker.
Sanitation and sticker kind of work in conjunction with each other.
Here again, it's basically wages and benefits that have gone up. And, those people all got basically a 2% raise, so.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what you're requesting, so.
And as far as like the truck drivers, everybody on here, that is, and goes by the max scale. Because as far as overtime, as far as you get a bad winter like this year, there's gonna be more overtime. So she goes by the max, so.
So, I don't know, any questions for Donnie?
I just would think, I know, we usually look at your equipment runs and some of the bigger purchases that we have. I just would keep in the minds that, trying to be on top of that for the next couple of years with our tight, strict budgets coming up. I know in the past, we've kind of let some things go and some deals of things. It'd be important to have them in the budget, so we know if anything major.
Okay.
Donnie does present like his 5-year plan to the commissioners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So it's, it goes all the way up to 30.
Yeah, and just really, we try to stick to it, especially the next couple of years of what's coming up, so.
Yeah.
And even the paving, they kind of do that as well with the program they have, whatever.
Yeah, we run our pacers, and as far as which roads need to be, we got a scale.
I'll scale, yeah, I know, just keep it in mind and we'll hope for the best and appreciate everything you're doing.
All right.
The only comment I'm gonna make is, safety. I think our liability insurance rates are going up here, and workman's comp. Make sure safety is in mind of all the employees. Because that's the job you guys do, is where you get hurt.
We try to have safety meetings. Try to have them once a month, but sometimes that don't happen, but we try to. So.
And the insurance company there
Now, Jessica with our workers' comp has visited him quite a few times. And
just keep that in mind and try to bear that with the employees. Appreciate it. So thanks for coming in this morning.
Okay. I never get a chance to talk to you guys, so I have a few things. I don't know if it's the right time to do it, but I'm going to.
I mean, if it's a change or something, we're gonna be on a tight schedule here today. I mean, if it's something that can wait till the end of the month at our normal meeting,
Okay.
but if you can't, if it's something important.
I just want you guys to think about 2025 bi-monthly was $54.52. Out of pocket was $2,500. This year it's going to go up to $62.50 premium and $3,500 out of pocket. Okay, I'm going by truck driver rate. The increase for a truck driver is $1,166.83. I don't know if y'all did the math or not, but the math comes up, they're making $24.69 decrease next year compared to this year. I mean,
I don't quite follow you there. I mean, are you saying everybody's gonna pay their out of pocket? Is that what you're saying?
well, if they do, which is, the medical insurance. Medical insurance medical is crazy. You go to any hospital or doctor or whatever, I mean, you're gonna meet that out of pocket pretty quick. And that's $1,000 increase.
When it costs the county $23,000 an employee, I mean, that's a drop in the bucket. And I think with this wellness program, my thinking is I think people have to be more concerned about their own health. And that's why we have a wellness program, and that everybody should participate in that.
And that's with everybody in the wellness.
That's set by the commissioners, so.
Yeah, that is, and I understand, insurance goes up and we have to, I understand that. But as far as the 2%, I mean, everything is going up. You guys know everything is absolutely going up. And
Except for our budget is going down. So everything we're doing right now is coming out of savings. We don't have the income coming in, and we won't be around, and fiscally responsibility of this board pulling out of savings is not fiscal responsible. And it's a hard time. And you can look at the budget of what we're doing.
I understand that, but I mean, taxpayers are gonna have to realize that too. It's just, you know, how many other factories and other whatever out there are making a decrease? They're not. They're making extra
But
money.
how many other employers have not raised premiums in insurance in 10 years? Let's think of that. So every year they got triple bonus, quadruple bonus. Here, we're trying to do something. A lot of people are doing nothing and raising premiums. So it's a mega loss. I mean, I would preach to them that we are really trying to do the best we can.
And I mean, years ago, it used to be, they say it was you couldn't even get on unless if you knew somebody, if you knew a commissioner, if you knew somebody from the highway department, you couldn't even get on unless you knew that. Nowadays, it's out of the last 2 hires that I did, one in February and one just here a few weeks ago, we had 11 qualified applicants. 4 of them turned it down after we offered it to them because they went home, they studied how much insurance, how much pay. 4 of them turned it down. So we don't have many people coming in, and it's getting harder and harder to hire, and
You got changing workforce nowadays, and it's one of the challenges of managing it. I mean, it's not gonna get easier for you. I mean, honestly, you got a bigger raise than anybody else. And it's hard for us to be able to do that. You're right, the workforce it's changing. It's not for the better, for the type of jobs that you manage.
as far as the raise I got, that was promised to me whenever I got in, and it doesn't matter. It was promised to me. But as far as that goes, you can take that and do whatever you want with it and give it to the rest of the guys if you want. That has nothing to do with that at all.
I don't think that's not the case.
No, and I think you should get raised, but for us to give a bigger raise to everybody, it's kind of like what Ryan alluded to. I don't know if we can.
Well, I think you guys really ought to be thinking about next year, if you have to raise taxes or whatever you gotta do.
We
This
can't,
is-
with that, we can't raise any more than we're raising.
Mhm.
We're only allowed to grow with the 4% growth quotient, and next year it's 0. We've already been told that. So you can't raise more than what you already have.
I think,
I don't know how to go
for efficiency, maybe we don't need it, maybe you got too many employees. I mean, if everyone's, efficiency is the other thing to solve this. If we take an employee and spread that, out, this is a tough situation. And you're looking at us, we didn't make the legislative changes. So, I mean, I don't think it's fair to point the finger. Here, we're trying to do the best we can. We can't put the government we can't borrow money to pay wages. So we're lucky in this situation, like Brian said, we're lucky we got some savings.
I think the tax rates will go up. Property tax, well, you're probably right, they're gonna go up, whether we get a bigger piece of the pie is yet to be determined.
Well, we already know our assessed value came down a little bit.
You said that meeting was coming, I didn't hear how that turned out.
Yeah, the assessed value, we just certified it, came down just a little bit, which means your rate's gonna go up to get the same dollars.
It's just austerity measures from the state, we don't have any control over that.
And this affects other departments a lot more than the highway department. I'll just.
Right, and I'm saying it for everybody. I'm not just for the highway department. I mean, as far as the highway department, yes, it's hard to, everybody knows they're on call 24/7. No matter, I got a call at midnight last night. I had to call somebody else and tell them to go out and cut a tree off the road, off Schnell Road. Plowing snow, they're on call 24/7.
There's a lot of other departments the same way.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different,
Just like
different challenge.
Just like the jail, but I understand.
I sit back there. But everybody, we're here to serve the public. So safety and. I appreciate you coming here.
All right.
Thank you for your comments. Sheriff Kleinelt. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
If you want to introduce yourself to the public, that's great.
Sheriff Kleinelter with the Sheriff's Office.
I guess we'll start on page 14. In your department, the sheriff's
These
department.
are what they're seeing, so,
Okay,
what we took those sheets and put them on here.
okay.
I guess going down the list here, I think it seems like everyone's got 2%, the way I see it there. Going down, I think the first line items, I got two.
Okay.
There's two deputies in here that
The new ones?
yes, have not
Yes.
been approved. And they were talked about, I know, a couple of ways through the commissioners' budget. They had discussions. I think what we need to do is decide if we can afford to fund those two deputies as new deputies. So I don't know, and then can you explain that next line item, the one in the white, new unused sergeant? What does that mean?
Well, we had two sergeant's positions that weren't filled for the longest time, and then we hired a new sergeant, Eric Hopkins, recently, and I know it was talked about, like that money was not into the budget because we hadn't used it for over a year, or it wasn't in the budget last year, the sergeant's position, but we had a position available, we just didn't have the money. So we had to come back in and ask for money for the remainder of the year for that sergeant. Well, there is another sergeant's position that's out there that's been created, but we haven't used it. Don't anticipate it being used. However, I put it in the budget just in case. So anything over a deputy's pay for a sergeant would be the $6,355. Does that make sense?
Yes. Who decides how many sergeants you're gonna have?
The commissioners approved it. So what we have approved in our agency is the total of 4 sergeants, 1 detective sergeant and 3 road sergeants. We've pretty much got away with 2 road sergeants and a detective sergeant for years. Like I said, I don't anticipate needing that. However, in case something would happen and we did, I wanted to put that in the budget because I was told that it didn't look good to come in here and ask for money when it wasn't in the budget. So that's why we put it in the budget. Like I said, I don't anticipate it being used, but it's there.
Okay. Thanks for the explanation. The next line, academy training, why would that go up, $5,300? And it's $10,000 last year, now it's $15,300.
We use that for equipment, academy training, also to buy some of their equipment. As a new officer, if a new officer comes in and hopefully we're going to get these 2 positions so that we're going to have to buy, we use that for their uniforms, their shoes, their basically equipment to go to the academy. And that also falls over when they become a road officer.
And then travel went up $160.
Basically, she added 2% to most of the line items.
Anybody have any questions? It seems like a duplication in some ways. We got uniforms down here. We got $10,000 $10,500 in uniforms, and then you're saying that,
Well, uniforms were for the essentially 26 officers that are already on the road. I mean,
so backing up the additional money here, the $5,000, that's if the 2 deputies are approved,
pretty much, yeah.
because we wouldn't need that much new equipment.
Well, yes, true, unless we have like an officer that quits, moves on, and then we have to replace them. They have to get new vests and everything else, so we usually use that out of the academy money also. Because a normal road officer is gonna get a new pair of shoes a year, probably at least a pair of pants or 2, shirts, just odds and ends, equipment for their belt.
But that's already calculated into the $10,000 originally, because that was already the case beforehand.
True.
Right. So
Yeah.
the difference would be if new officers were coming in that aren't already there, going in and out.
Yes.
So
And then other operating, I don't know exactly what that means, on the next page, 16. Again, that's a lot of money, other operating, what is that? Because every time, like this next, at the end of the month, you're coming in for $13,000 to buy.
That's in the firearms budget.
Firearms and all that, so I just wonder here, what is other operating? Are we duplicating some of this, or?
It probably is somewhat duplicating. We've always had other operating, and it just, if we run low on something, Joanne pays it out of other operating. I don't know, it kind of goes on. I can go back and get you all a list that we paid out of other operating. I don't have that off the top of my head to come up and try to name something that we pay off of that. Do you guys know what we?
I think it's more like if, say a car needs something, or like tires, or something that's out of the ordinary when you're out of other garage, or
Yeah,
I don't see the cleans anymore, so it's hard for me to know.
well then, do we use up all of these other line items then, and then that's used after the fact? Is that what?
Yeah.
That's being basically considered?
Well,
Use the 19,000 for,
well, so I can just say, like, Doug, sometimes Joanna come to me and she says, I got this bill, and if I can't just say, okay, well, that comes out of tires or other garage or maintenance on the vehicle or something, I'll just say, we'll take it out of other operating. So
even if
it's kind of like a catch-all, I guess.
even if the other funds still have money in them? Or,
Well, if I can't,
or if she says this fund doesn't have money in it, where are we gonna pull it from? That's
Yeah,
where it comes
we
from.
use that. But all of it, everything that we've had there was just raised to 2%. Is what Joanne did.
I'm kind of wondering, why don't we just put more in those other funds to make it to where they do last good year instead of having this 25,000 and then come for additional?
It doesn't matter to me.
I don't know if that's I don't know if we can do that or just keep it as it is.
And moving on to body camera service, that's the contract for next year, 80,000.
That is, yes.
So, okay, so we'll have to come back on those 2 officers. Let's just go through the jail here. Let's see what else we have here. Before we move on, so the jail is saying, on page 15, I guess it starts.
Okay.
Again, I don't see a whole lot of change there. My first question, unless someone else goes on the wages at first. We have I guess I'd like to know what part-time cooks, 29,000, what changed there? Between last year, we had budgeted $5,000 for part-time cooks.
Well, I don't know how so we always had the part-time cooks, part-time jail officers. And everything was lumped together and it got separated last year for some reason. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. We can move that money around. Nothing really got changed on it though.
But I was just wondering why it's so much higher. You know, because I don't know, I'm just curious. I mean, or why didn't we have very much in it last year, part-time? Because we got a full-time cook. Cook full-time is $112,000 that you're requesting. And then full-time.
Because there's 3 in there.
3 people, right? So that's, yeah. And it got cut off here in my book, but, no, that's fine. So that's 3 people. That makes sense. And then we got a full-time kitchen manager, and then we get down to part-time people, and then figure out
Yeah, I don't
why
know.
there's so much in the cooking thing.
I honestly,
She's
I do
gonna
not
pull it
know.
up.
From the year before in 2024, there was 20,000 in that.
Was it?
Yeah, and then we bumped it down to 5 last year.
So maybe that's a change the sheriff's talking about, huh? Possibly.
Yeah, and this. Well, see, it's here. Yeah, but I had to make a comment about this.
Tom,
Yeah.
on budget, it was turned in originally part-time, it's 29,025. And I had made a phone call, and maybe I was supposed to decrease that 29,000 by the 15 to separate it out. Was that the case, you
Yeah,
think?
that probably is, because I would never have
Okay.
that much in there, so.
That's the part-time jailer. So the part-time jailers, 15,000, and then the difference would have went into that.
Was the cooks.
Okay,
So this, we reduced that by 15,000 then?
hold on.
Actually, I mean, you could decrease that all the way, probably down to 5.
That could have been a misunderstanding on my part.
Yeah.
What do you have on yours? Is it the 20?
All I have on mine that I turned in was
Part-time.
$13.95 an hour.
Oh, okay.
And see, we have just one line, part-time, and we separated part-time jailer and part-time cooks.
So the jailer should be 15 and the cooks should be 14,025?
No, I would just put it at 5,000.
Oh, you want it
Even, yeah,
at
we won't
5?
even increase it, because,
Oh, okay.
again, I don't anticipate that.
Because most of your cooks are full-time, right?
Yeah.
And you want the part-time jailers as 15?
At 15.
Okay.
Okay, well, thanks for looking into it.
I think it's the next page that I do have a change also.
I didn't have anything else on that page, so we're on 16 minutes. So again, most of these have gone up and you're seeing probably 2%.
Most of them were 2%,
Except the medical.
except the medical. Yeah, that's, again, it's hard to forecast out. Like this year, we're getting hit hard. So you just don't know whether you're going to get hit hard or not. But we kind of went on what the bills that we have, and more than likely we'll have to come in and ask for money. So we increased it to not have to do that.
Memory serves me right, you changed,
We changed medical companies.
okay, is that working better for you?
It's working better as far as in-house. It's still, I mean, you take some money to Memorial, we took one guy there 3 times for the same thing, it's just, and that's all on us. So you can't forecast.
Curiosity, can you use these clinics, or do you have to take them?
It all depends on what the doctor says. Like, we'll do our protocol, and if he says, they need to go to the hospital, which is typically at night. We don't usually take them to the hospital during the day. We have a nurse on staff and the doctor comes in. So very rarely do we send somebody to the hospital during the day. It's usually at night.
So then, just look at the next one down is repairs, it just dropped a little bit, so same with meals. I guess the rest of it all around 2%, roughly speaking. I guess the other,
I have a change on the very last one, computer support.
Okay.
I don't know, honestly, nobody knows what happened. But in the years of 21, 22, 23, and 24, computer support was raised from 22,000 to 40,000. And then in 25, this year, it went back to 22,000. So I don't know if that was our mistake, we went off the wrong budget. But we just looked at it before I did the budget, everything was good. And then Joanne came, I think it was last week or even the week before after we turned the budget in and says, we're about out of money on computer support. So I will probably have to come in at the end of the month and ask for an increase, but if it could go back to the 40,000, which it previously was, we can make that work.
do you think there's something to do maybe when didn't we buy new computers when we did the facility there?
I personally think we looked at the wrong budget. Because in 2019, it was 22,000, and then we increased it going into 2020 to 40, and it's been 40,000 ever since. And then for some reason, it went back to 22. So I think,
I don't have any notes, but I do say 40 and 24 and 25, 22, because I have my last year's with me.
yeah, I just think maybe Joanne looked at the wrong year, and it was this year, so everything looked good when we did the budget, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. So I don't think it was anything, I think it just was an oversight.
So we would need to change that to 40,000.
Yes, and I think we would be good there.
What was the thinking behind doing all the 2% raise with things outside of the employee pay?
Inflation.
Because I'm just wondering that because the other departments didn't do that. I saw they did individual things where they foresaw an actual or an increase because of what.
We just did inflation, and I mean, it wasn't even inflation, it was the 2% that you.
Like travel.
I mean, if you need to save money, you can cut it all back down to what it was, that's fine.
Did it have something to do with just like prorating everybody that was in the building for some, you know what I mean, for some reason, because of, I don't, like by department, by usage, or I don't know. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I have another question. I saw those 2 uniform accounts.
One for the jail, one for the deputies.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Then I have a question on the other operating for the jail, it went from 44,000 to 76,500.
I just sent Brooke to run those reports so you can tell what's coming out of them.
Yeah,
And the jail one.
which our jail did double in size. So, I mean, it is taking a lot more to operate the jail than it ever has before.
Is that through utilities and?
Not necessarily utilities, it's a lot of the maintenance fees. When you the service contracts that we have, and I mean, you know, for local companies to come up and service the equipment, obviously increased because they have a lot more equipment to service. So it was just more of an increase in service contracts.
Okay.
But again, I think if Sandy pulls them reports, it'll be clear.
This one she's waiting to go to 20, I don't have anything else on the jail, I'm doing 27 maybe. And that is the misdemeanor fund. That's
The misdemeanor fund gets one payment a year in the fall, and typically we've split that between community corrections and between sheriff. Now, the fund had money in it previously, so the sheriff always budgets a little bit more.
Correct.
So I don't know when that's gonna even out, but there's still money in that fund, so.
So,
Little history.
go ahead. Is that split between community corrections, is that what?
Well, community corrections uses about half of what the new revenue we get in it, and the jail budgets, the jail's been budgeting about 70,000
Usually about
for
70,000.
many
yeah.
years.
Mhm.
So what's, my only question here on the academy training for the jail is, I guess my question is $5,000, yeah. So is that something, does the jailers have to go to an academy?
They have to do a week-long, and we've been able to do it by Zoom for the last year or two. I mean, it does cost us to send them through there, but every jailer has to go through a 40-hour jailer school within their first year.
I got notes on previous other operating that we were discussing the jump
This is the jails.
44 to 765. Saying is it also something that is needed? So are those two?
So if any, I mean, these are all the vendors,
Yeah. Okay.
if that helps
So
you.
this would be other
You want me to give
operating
that to them?
and the jail, other operating.
I'm sorry, Doug.
The
Sandy.
misdemeanor other operating in the jail, the ones we just talked about, the 20, the 44 to the 60, 76, are those used kind of interchangeably or are those two different?
For the operating,
Yeah,
Interchangeably.
operating lines, because they're both named the same, and I had a note saying, is that also used for misdemeanor?
Here's the different,
Or,
this is the jail operate, other operating.
Miss-
this is your sheriff, other operating.
Sandy could probably answer this, or Brooke. The misdemeanor fund does not come from the general fund.
No, it comes, it's a lump sum money that we get in the fall from the state for
state.
holding
Yeah, our
misdemeanor,
Misdemeanors, yeah.
something or other. I don't understand the formula, but it's about $40-some thousand you get.
yeah.
is that maybe why there was 44,000 in the other line item?
Well, like I said, for years, we got that money and didn't use it, and so then the sheriff started using it. But community corrections, when it started, it only uses half of it. That was the agreement they made.
So that's why one's 44 and the other one's 10? Or that's why it's only 10 for the other fund? That's what I was asking.
10 for what other
What other fund?
It's assuming that there is other operating jail for $10,000. And
Well, they split it. The jail does part of the budget,
courthouse.
community corrections does the other part of the budget.
I see, Doug, they ran it out, these operating, I was just looking at the percentage used. And
Those are the,
what's budgeted and what's used so far, I mean, we're in, let's say we're in even half the year. You know, you can see, you know, what they're,
what they use it for.
right, and where we're at on the budget, that's what I was thinking of. It would, you know, and I guess good budgeting practices tells you, you know, at the end of the year, you should really look at what got spent. You know, let's say the budget, and then, I mean, it would be more realistic. I know you'd have to have a contingency, because otherwise you'd be in here
Mhm.
every month, you know, and we don't want that either. But I mean, that would be a way to see if something's way off,
Correct.
you know, and that's usually.
It's hard to know 18 months from now what you're gonna do.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, and that's what, I mean, I know I look to Joanne, she does all of our bills, and I mean, I look to her a lot to say we need to increase or we need to, or we're good. She doesn't really say we're good, it's usually if we need to increase anything, and that's kind of what we did, but,
and the money goes back to the.
It stays,
to the
it's
general
not-
fund. I mean, it's not like it's. you know,
Yeah.
And I'm hoping no department head just burns through it because we got it, you know.
Right.
You know,
That doesn't really happen here.
yeah.
In this
And-
county, we are very lucky that people do not use what they don't need.
Yeah, and that's good, that's great, that's great. So you got any comment on that, you think, or?
Just that after looking from the beginning to the end, from the 44 to the 70, it seems a little much, a little bit more. I do think that there's extra that should be put in there, but I don't know if 30,000. That almost double in that, I don't know.
Well, like I said, that fund has the cash in it. They just didn't use it for a long time. Now they're trying to use it. instead of using our other money.
I just want for the future, we keep doing that and the fund goes down. We know that that was just in case, because moving and evaluating what we actually use and maybe putting it down a little bit or what actually is gonna be used in the future. I don't know. But yeah, that money's there to use.
Well, just, I mean, I'm open to doing whatever, but this is our first year in there, so we kind of don't really
Right, just to
know.
make a note that that's why we're doing
Right.
this. And then in
Yeah.
the future, if it still needs it, then it needs it. If it doesn't,
Yeah.
then we can be more of a.
Yeah, we'll have a better gauge next year for
Better
sure.
idea. So, yeah, that's fine with me.
I passed that on, if anybody's got any comment. Is there any other comment, or we'll have to move on to the big decision here? And I think that's on page 14, the new deputies. I guess I'd like to hear comments, if anyone's got any from the council, what we should do there. Can we, you know, I guess that I've lost sleep over, how much can we afford? You know, it costs, it's a lot more to keep a deputy on than just the wages that's shown here. And to hire a new deputy and train them, you know, we have to, it's 2 more vehicles on the road, it's gas, tires, you know, the whole thing. Additional social security, body cam, vehicle insurance, health insurance. So I mean, it's I mean, I roughed it out just to keep it, roughly to keep it a deputy on the road, about $120,000 a year. That's what I come up with. So, and that's not the initial things that some of the sheriff is asking for, or not for budgeting, I'm saying for is the training that they got to go to, I'll call it boot camp, it's probably called something else, but, yeah, you know, but
So, yeah,
it's not the, you know, it's not the $65,000 or $67,000 that we look at here. It's more than that. So I think we have to decide, again, we all know that property tax, you know, our property tax money or personal property is all, you know, that personal property tax income that we're getting with funds will not be there next year. So, you know, and it's starting to affect us already. So to continue this with new employees, I just don't know if we can afford it as a county. So I'll listen to anyone else.
Yeah, I find it hard to add new employees when we're also considering not giving our current employees a raise. And also the increase in insurance. It just seems like, I don't know if I can justify that. Come to terms with it in my own mind that we're gonna have more people, but people who do have, we're gonna say, no, you don't get a raise, and you also have higher costs from your insurance.
Sheriff, I got a question for you. Is there any directives from the state on how the local sheriff's departments are going to be involved in any new law enforcement activities, or is that just the state police?
yeah, there's nothing for us. I have not heard a word on it anyway.
Nobody else want to make comment?
I think we're kind of all in the same agreement, the timing is just not great, and it's hard. And I don't know that the timing will ever be right, but this is definitely the hardest. I mean, everything we're doing is coming out of savings. With these things, a lot of this stuff, it's hard to justify it when you're in the debt so much coming this year to budget. That's the hardest part. And we don't even, I don't even know that we've got an accurate number on what it's gonna be yet, but it's doom and gloom, and it's doom and gloom is the things we've got. And I also think it's a good time maybe to clean up. I think this would be a good opportunity with the commission to clean up the grant deputies and its new deputies and where exactly we're at. Because I know we've had a little confusion on if it's been approved, if it's not.
What do you mean by that?
The grant deputies are coming off this list. And then we're just replacing it with the.
Well, I don't know, did you see my email that I sent you, the date that I went in and clarified that?
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
So I think we're good there. I think now it's just whether or not we can afford it. And that's the hard part. So much in the hole, it is hard to justify.
Well, we also need to plan for your deputy social worker who's coming off in 26.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we know we're gonna have to take that one on in 2 years. Next year, we'll be talking about putting her on
Correct.
our roles, because right now the grant is funding it. So. Just talking, because next year, we get no growth.
Right, zero.
And we don't honestly know, we have not heard from the state if this budget is even approved. So we may be doing cutting here yet.
Well, I met with him last night and he thinks we're good for what we have for now. But.
Okay, so I guess, is that all the comments? So.
I need my sheets.
Oh,
Okay.
you did?
Yeah, I got other people on those pages,
Oh,
sorry. No, you're fine.
Hold on.
But the JMH one, you did put in for Emily a raise. You put in
Yeah.
for a raise, but the grant doesn't have any raise in it.
Anybody?
So I don't know
Okay.
how we're gonna fund that.
I don't know either,
So that's,
but, I mean, I think it's,
We need to talk about the JMH grant with Emily Haas.
Yeah, well,
And her.
I just told him,
That's what they're talking about.
they put in a budget to increase her, but the grant does not have an increase in it.
So, just for your information, we voted, nobody is in favor of putting up a new deputy. So,
Oh, sorry.
next thing is this, how would we fund this, raise for this individual? So would we, is that something we have to make a budget line on it in the sheriff's budget for?
Well, that's a conversation. I mean,
Are we gonna just say she doesn't get a raise?
well, it all depends on whether, it'd be one more year of
Right.
this salary.
right, for
And then-
26,
Yeah. And then in 27, she would get,
she would come on to the county rolls.
and then get
And
her
get a
raises then.
Can we
Yeah.
confirm again, does that grant allow only just for that straight
Yes,
amount for those years? Okay, just want to make sure we're all saying the same thing.
But we knew that going in, the grant didn't account for raises.
correct.
So that was already the expectation that it wasn't gonna increase.
Correct.
I'm not saying that.
I just don't know.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but I'm just saying that was what we already knew going into it, that she wouldn't get a pay raise.
This is our social worker?
Yes.
Yeah. For this time. I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying.
I mean, I would think she should totally deserve a raise, in my opinion, and whether we have to create a line and pay her above the, almost like we do the new one, new sergeant. I think she's a hell of an asset. And she is part of the agency.
Thirty-seven.
37.
But we can't do it in the JMH grant, is what we're saying.
Right.
But if we have another line,
It would have to be in the deputy.
So it's not gonna be a huge amount of money.
And then if that grant
No, it would
truly
just be a
ends in
couple $1,000.
September, we're gonna have to fund her for the last quarter. But since we didn't get started on time, we're hoping that it'll extend and let us go to the end of the year. See, those things we won't know yet.
Right.
And see, I'm not on the JRAC, so I'm not in those conversations.
Well, they've kind of cut off all communication because of the pause from the federal government now, so we're not really getting any communication or any direction.
So let me make a recommendation. I'm still thinking about this academy training. If we're not gonna approve these deputies, why can't we drop that back down to 10,000? And then fund this, create another line.
are we funding her the all year? Are we, is her pay is based not for the 27, what was it? Not support 27 pays. So this, because next year there's an extra week, so she's out that as well.
Well, the grant's supposed to end September 30th of 26, so you have a whole quarter you're gonna have to deal with. But since you didn't start the grant on day one, because they always have a lag when they give it to you. We're hoping that moves to the end so that we can fund her. So next year's gonna be wonky with her anyway,
So they might be coming for an additional appropriation
to finish her out and move her to,
and create the position.
but I don't think you'd put her in jail, I think you'd put her in sheriff.
The sheriff, yeah.
But it's all general, so if you cut the one, you can always increase.
Is there any objection to doing that, cutting that line item, having the training down, back down to 10,000? And then creating a line item for.
I would be more in favor with that suggestion.
So anyone against that? Okay, so are you good with that?
So then how much are you wanting to put in there? Just whatever
Well,
it is
I think
to,
whatever it is, if whatever
offset
her
the
raise
raise?
is, without sitting here and figure it out,
okay,
and we can approve it at the end of the month, fine, or, I mean, as long as it's legitimate.
okay,
It would just go to first class.
okay.
Does that make sense? Everybody in agreement with that? And then that line item, so that one line item, go back down to 10.
Yeah, I got that.
Even though they're in different budgets, it's okay, it's still the same fund.
I like that suggestion.
Okay. Any other comments? Sheriff?
No.
You're good, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Coming in.
Did you need this?
Yes, I do, thank you.
Good suggestion.
The most important person in the county, the surveyor. Can you
If this
introduce
takes very long, it's your fault.
Can
I won't ask for
Don't ask any
this
questions.
year. I won't.
Can you introduce yourself to the public?
Ken Grossberg, County Surveyor.
Can we, I think she doesn't even give you a page, I guess.
She doesn't need one.
It's pretty simple. Okay,
Yeah, I
That's what they're looking at.
basically just kept everything the same at
Yeah.
2% raise, so.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's on page 5, so if you want to follow through there. And then the,
This down.
any tenant perpetuation fund,
This
page
number back there.
38.
Yeah, I've been trying to, really haven't been using that fund very often, and it's gonna be left in there for the person after me in case they're not licensed. Then they can use that money and hire someone, if something needs to be done. That's what that fund's really for, which is good across the whole
The
state.
county is getting kind of a benefit having you as a licensed surveyor.
I would say that, yeah, that's right.
I agree with that. So
Yeah, so
Oh, pat him on the back.
whenever I retire, I can take a big bonus out of there if you, that'd be nice.
I don't think we're in the mood to give this.
Okay. No, but that's a great fund across the state. If you don't have a licensed surveyor, they tap into that and get their corners marked or GPS, whatever they use it for. But
You're completely finished with it.
right. Right. So we're just basically following up the pavers and bringing points to the surface. They get paved over or milled out, whatever it may be, and then we get the paving schedules from Jasper, Huntingburg, and the county. And just kind of bring them back up where people can see them, or surveyors, without digging in the road. So, yeah, it's not as much fun.
Well, thanks for the job you've done. I think we don't keep the
It's been fun.
Taking
It's
on
been
that-
a good, it's
taking
been a
on
lot of
that
fun.
challenge. It's a good thing.
I got some feedback for you. I had guys trimming the right of ways for power lines, and
Right.
they said they found it. It was extremely accurate. They couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you messed with that one, but it was there.
I probably wouldn't be. But, yeah, between the solar fields and some transmission lines, surveyors come in and give them the points. And, yeah, they've been real pleased. So, yeah, it's working out good.
Thanks for your professionalism. That's good. I know that's all we have.
Good.
Appreciate it.
5 minutes.
Get back on schedule.
That's right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
Craig, are you, good to see you. Just come up and introduce yourself. For the public.
Here's your page.
All right. Yeah, good morning. Craig Graulich, DuBois County Treasurer. So, for the most part, my budget hasn't changed too much. We made a few adjustments. My comp time, I brought that down $750. I think when I initially put that in a couple of years ago, I figured it conservatively, I guess, too much. So I brought it down to a little bit more better numbers. So I feel like my personal services line, so what you guys see, yes, is plus 2,400, which is included in that 2%. And then the envelopes and statements, postage has gone up twice now on me, so that's why that has to go up 1,000. It's not what I want to do, but we are working to see if there's a way that we can adjust that. And what I'm saying is, if you would put, if your parcel says Mike Kleesner, and then your next parcel you own says Michael, I don't even know your middle name, J. Kleesner. Well, that's a W, okay. That would be two separate. So we're trying to find a way to put those together, even though you somehow put it in the deed differently. And so we're working on that right now to see if there's a way to, so that would help bring the cost of the envelopes down.
Okay.
So we're putting an effort into it.
Each individual name has to have a separate name.
That's correct.
That's what you're saying.
Yes. And then, what's the next one? My dues, the treasurer dues, we received notice at our last conference, which was last week, that that's going up a little bit, so I had to increase that by $50. So that's $475.
Okay.
So for the most part, my budget's still under 200,000. I feel like it's a, pretty small budget for what we do and what we bring to the table. And one of the things that you guys do not see. So early in January, we always do. We have a Board of Finance meeting, and I'm not sure you may have seen it.
I've not seen it in the.
Okay, so one of the things that we calculate is the amount of interest earnings that we collect for the year. And so in 22, the year of 2022, the county received $520, I'm gonna round up, $522,000 in interest. Now, interest rates were not as good as they are now. And then in 23, interest rates improved. We went to 2.3 million. And last year, so for the year of 2024, we received a little over $2.7 million in interest. And so that is money that the taxpayers don't have to pay. $2.7 million last year. And so for 25, we feel like it's going to be down. I feel like we're going to probably be about 2.3 million. And for 26, we're forecasting about 2 million. So it's trending. Granted, we have no idea to know exactly how it's going to be, but I guess what I want to say is we've tried to do our part to make sure the taxpayers don't have to pay or fund. And to piggyback what Donnie was saying too, I want to do my part to help make sure that we get a raise of some sort. And I understand it's insurance related too. I sat in that seat. I know it's hot right now. I think we should shut the air conditioner off to really make it hot.
We've done that.
I know, let's do it again. I'm being funny. Turns out I'm not very
These guys
funny.
were here then.
I know, that was my first year and that was downstairs.
It was miserable.
It was hot, especially in the afternoon.
Well, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
And I think for the public, a lot of that money is invested locally in the county.
It is.
County banks.
It is, and they're all listed, GAB, Springs Valley, Freedom, and Old National. So our 4 largest banks that we have here locally.
This last class we went to up at Indianapolis, we almost could have been the treasurer after we got through that.
Is that right?
towards investments and, you know, how they're guaranteed and.
Right.
I think the state pushes to invest locally too, more or less.
Yes.
When, when we were in the year that the interest rates were really bad, we struggled. Because we had forecasted to get more and we didn't. And our numbers really did hurt. So, I mean, it does make a difference on our funds when the interest rates are better.
We have a couple money markets that are with the health department. And so we give them interest every week. So that helps helps them continue funding the projects that they've got going on. And you have to ask them what they use them for, but at this point, it doesn't matter to us. We give them that interest money that they've earned, and it works out pretty good. So it's less they have to come back here to ask for more money from you guys. But I, sitting on this side of the table, wanted to bring it up that last year that we earned $2.7 million. And that's, the taxpayers did not have to, we didn't have to take out of the general fund $2.7 million because we have earned it with all of our funds, so.
I think that's great. Do you utilize sweep accounts at all?
A lot of sweeps. Our money just kind of comes in and then we sweep it out, yes,
Okay.
yes. So we do have sweeps,
Good job.
yes.
You know, you were taught a lot of this by sitting in these seats.
Correct.
Right?
I had a little bit of background before I sat in that seat, but yes, that's right. But yes, it's been really good. So for the most part, so my budget line is still, like I said, still under 200,000. And I like being on this side a little bit too, especially today. Especially
Well,
today.
thank you for.
Yes.
We have you at 202.
Oh, no way. Oh, really? Mine was 199.
We may have fixed some things.
We have you at 202,000.
Okay, I fabricated it, sorry.
Pretty close.
202. All
I
right.
saw that. I was kind of-
Oh, I did, okay, see, I didn't see that.
Thought maybe you
We're
were.
talking about last year's?
No, talking about for this year. Okay, I'll have to see what that is.
Re-roll.
I'll make a copy of a picture of this.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.
I think for the council, let's take a little break. We're a little ahead of schedule, so let's take a break here for a few minutes.
It's your dues due.
Oh, maybe I didn't add it up. Okay. My dudes, dude.
They didn't go up that long. Your dues, it's just by $50.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Right.
Take your shoes off.
Hey, that's right. Absolutely. What's wrong with that? Double checking my math. Yeah. Yes. No, I just was, yeah, good. I'll just.
Don't tell us you're a treasurer you can't add. We don't
That's
hear
right.
that.
That's right. No, I was just talking about, our money market money that we give you guys every week, so I spent it on top. Good. I think we're good. Is that right?
Our budget. Already saying about well, and that's oh. Yeah,
Just one problem to take for you.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
take care. Keep making us money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Celsius? No, that's a Costco coffee.
We should take that out and put it back in there. This will just be increased. How about the coverage? How much we have? See, it shouldn't be there. No, it wasn't. Here.
So Mike.
Kind of about as bare bones as I can. You try to find $745,000 in 1 year, it's pretty tough. No, you're fine. It's a long day. Yeah. I'm sure it is.
My wife just sent me a video, they were going over to Huntingburg to take the kids up for daycare. And
Yeah.
son was saying, "Get out of the way, bring the guy, it's got out of the way."
Did your little girl get hurt?
What's that?
Did your little girl get hurt?
Second day of school, of
I
kindergarten.
had to go
she was
drop some
going
stuff off, and I saw her in there. I was like, oh, I hope she's okay.
She had 2 stitches. So, yeah, second day of school, she was walking into circle time, whatever, and between the desks, they said she tripped over her own 2 feet.
You got some questions, I'll answer.
Hit it on the side of the
But she
desk.
had a big bandage, so I figured something.
Now it's just a regular day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just 2 stitches, just right under here, so you won't be able to see it anyway.
I trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's back there. Yeah, that's why I walked back. Oh, it's okay. I was hoping everything was okay. She seemed okay.
Yeah. It doesn't want anybody talking about it, tell me, so now it's gonna be all over the internet, so.
You shifted.
And we'll be
Doesn't do anything with salary.
But I gotta drop
It's
off
just,
services
and
Yeah, I
supplies
should
and
drop
contracts and stuff. And that we get.
Later on,
The salary's just.
I don't know, watch that
Probably
process.
more. That's what they said to do. So.
Thanks for coming.
Yep.
Can we continue to have it run?
It's on.
Maybe we don't have to break.
It should be okay till lunch.
We just recess then.
Well, that seems like a distant memory.
Please break for lunch, yeah.
Because all my Coke and my others.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you want one?
Did you bring a blanket?
Yes. Charmaine. I'm Charmaine.
It is cold in here.
Well,
It was real muggy.
it was real muggy earlier, so we do 1 degree and this is
No,
what we
because
get.
I walked earlier and it was really sweaty, then once you
It's
like pull
nice
back down,
here.
it's really cold. You know what I mean?
It's like winter time.
It wasn't no way. Out the hallway, now I'm cold.
We can turn it up 1. I mean, it just takes 1 degree, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
So it'd be great.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, let's not keep it there too long. These
We're house
seats,
divided.
these seats are pretty hot. Let's do it that way.
Hopefully I don't make it any hotter.
Sonia, if you're ready, we'll get started. If you could introduce yourself to the
Yeah.
public,
Sean Warner, Du Bois County Health Department Administrative Director.
and we'll start with page 20 on the budget.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let you kind of walk us through it if you don't mind. We don't have to touch on, I think, 2%, so we can go down to.
Yeah, we went 2% across the board on the salaries like you asked. Pretty well. You want me to go through line by line?
I'll just touch on the ones I see on it. It's
Okay.
changed a lot, and that's the professional liability. Why 15,000?
So that came in from, we had that in HFI funding, the state funding. Professional liability is what we have to carry for nurses and liability insurance at the health department. And with anything, insurance continues to go up, so we want to make sure we got that covered.
And that was just strictly in another budget.
It used to be in the health, and then when we had HFI, we moved it to HFI, and when HFI got cut, moved it back to health. So we have no choice on that one.
And a lot of these are probably similar.
Yeah, I mean, my budget moved all around because of the huge cut we took.
I mean, the small ones here, the $9,000.
Office supplies.
Went up.
That was same thing, moved from HFI. We had to cut HFI 640-some thousand. So that's bare bones, and whatever we had to keep, we moved back into the health because that was a really only other option.
Medical waste supplies.
Medical supplies, the 200,000.
Yeah, no. I was on the medical, it says what medical waste supplies, 6,000. It was 5,000.
Like Sharps potatoes.
Yeah, that's our Stericycle contract. Yeah, Sharps disposal.
And then the 200,000 for vaccines.
Yeah, that moved also from HFI. So we have to, we have a contract with VaxCare. So when we use a vaccine, we pay them for that vaccine, and then they reimburse us a stipend. But if we bill Medicare, Medicaid, we do our own billing, then VaxCare bills us for those vaccines. So if there was months we had, $50-some thousand that we owed them. So we have to have that to be able to buy the vaccine to give to the public. And then obviously the medical supplies to go with giving the vaccines. So that's all coming out of there. And a lot of that money from the 200,000 will be brought back in through revenue from giving that shot once we do our billing. So that's just to have enough cushion to be able to pre-purchase it, and then get the reimbursement back in the payment. So I'm not going to spend $200,000. It's all going to go away. Some of it's going to come back as reimbursement.
Does it come back into this fund?
It comes back into the health fund as revenue, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then I didn't see a whole lot of change, except when we get down to the dues, subscription, and memberships went up $1,000.
Yeah, so our health officer is no longer affiliated with Memorial since he's fully retired. So then we have to have his doctor's license. So we pay for his license now through that. So that's why we had to raise it.
And then getting bottom of the page to the $10,000 went from 5,000 to 10,000 for accounting and contractual.
Yeah, so that's all of our Medicaid, Medicare billing. Those contracts keep going up, and then we also have contracts with other companies. With anything, they keep raising their rates, and we just have to sometimes eat it. I know Athena went up, which are EHR. Those continue to go up, so we had to have enough there to cover those.
Okay. And the equipment, $5,000. At the bottom of page 20.
Office machines and equipment. Yeah, if we need a copy machine, if we need computers, most of our computers are outdated, but copy machine alone is $5,000. So, I mean, that's not a whole lot when we have as big of an office as what we do.
I don't see any issues with anything.
I have a question about that. Medical supplies vaccine. If that is something that's every year that you're getting that money back from vaccines, why can't you just roll that over to the next year? If we're given 200,000 or 100,000 every year, and you're getting some of that back.
Well, we don't generate enough revenue at the health department to sustain our budget, so it's basically just goes back into there, and then whatever, it's all in the same fund. So it's kind of a wash.
It's no different than budgeting for a grant and then getting it reimbursed afterward. If we have to have the money up front, you gotta have it budgeted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know but we already had the money up front from the previous year.
Not all of it.
Or at least most of it, so is that taken into account last year's money that you're coming forward from?
We have to have it in
It
line
goes,
item to be
it
able
goes
to
into
pay it.
their operating balance.
So they're using it other places then?
It's gonna continue to dwindle if we,
Okay.
if we don't have any changing, I mean,
We used to budget for that out of edit fund, and we quit that, and now they're on their own doing it, so it's,
yeah, that was $30,000 edit line item that we gave back whenever we had HFI funding come in. Now, HFI funding, we realized in mid-year, we couldn't use it because HFI does not allow you to charge for service through funding. So then we had to move it to health to be able to.
And then Health First Indiana. Correct. I don't have a whole lot, most of it went down quite a bit. So, you know, I don't have any, do you want me to comment on that?
no, we did split the HFI into different years because Connie wanted them.
Well, we have
So-
carryover from 2024. That is a whole separate budget that we have to submit to the state because we have to keep all those years separate.
Right. So that's why there's more than one page of them.
So 20.
Page 23 is the 24 carryover,
Right.
and page 24 is the 25 carryover, right?
Mhm.
Or the new funding.
Well, the funding for this coming year is $228,177.67.
Yeah, that's on page 24.
24.
That went down from 800 and, what was it? 53,542.
On this Health First Indiana fund, I mean, I thought I understood that they may give more money if
Well,
am I wrong there?
2026 is set at the 228,177. They said if the projections from the revenue at the state look better and they feel like they have the ability to fund it, they might be able to change mid-year. But I highly doubt that it's going to happen. We can't bank on that. I have to bank on the 228,177 for 2 years.
I just wondered. That's the understanding.
It's a 2-year cycle, so 2028 they would revote on the next budget.
So when the legislature comes back into session a year from now, or more than a year from now, and then they may look at it again, you're saying?
They're saying they could potentially look at it, but there's no guarantees on that. We get 228,177.67 cents for 2 years, and then they revote on the budget in 2 years.
Okay.
Could go up, could go down.
So next year's not a budget year, so that makes sense.
So, I mean, I guess for the council, these 2 pages are, you know, there's a, it's just, I don't know what we're gonna, you know, they're mostly cuts, and it got moved, some of it to the health budget, some of it. That's what I said, you have any comments on those 2 pages? I don't have any questions.
Not really. I mean, the only thing that was raised was the salaries at 2%, like everybody else. Everything else, as far as I know, is stayed the same, or it got cut drastically or moved to a different fund.
Okay.
And he cut 3 positions.
So this year, at the end of this year, I'll have lost 3 positions. Next year, I'll probably lose another unless, you know, they come up in the middle of the year next year and give us more money. And then the year after that, the way I have to calculate it, I'll probably lose 1 more if all stays the same unless something changes.
Okay. So we want to go to page 21 then, all these grants. Then I might see a lot of changes that maybe you could explain. Ebola, yes.
Ebola is just money we have left over from when Ebola hit. They allocated some funding to the health departments to be able to combat that disease. We still have some money left over in there. We budgeted for PRNs, and the rest is just in other operating. If we should have something come up that we can't fund out of another grant or fund we have.
At the end of the year, right now, he may have 13,000 in there. If he spends any of that at the end of the year, we lower the next year's budget to whatever he has.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yes, because that fund's never gonna be replenished.
Okay, so educate me here. I mean, why couldn't we just use it up and get rid of the fund right away here?
Because that fund has different requirements of what you can use it for. I mean, a lot of these grants have certain requirements of what I can spend on and what I can't spend it on. So it's just not in our practice to just blow $13,000 just because we want to get rid of it. We're trying to be fiscally responsible. If we have something come up in the future that we may not be able to pay for out of HFI or their health fund, then we can use something like this to offset the cost and not take it out of county funding. So
And you don't have, it doesn't have to be depleted by a certain date, you can just say until you.
it's ours to keep until it's gone. So I don't
Now,
really feel
it is-
comfortable with just blowing it just because we want to.
I didn't want
Yeah.
to use that term. I just say, I guess, to pay a nurse out there
Yeah,
and clean the account up, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't pay a nurse out of $13,000. I would have to split funds and then it would get ugly in the middle of the year. So
Well, it's federal, so we have to keep reporting it on your annual report until it's gone.
Okay. Okay, thanks for the education.
yeah,
These grants are,
I know it's a lot to track and manage as well, but we try to do our best.
Now, the health maintenance on the bottom there is another fund that they used to get the grant money. It has carryover funds. It's gone now. With Health First Indiana replaced this one.
So the health maintenance and trust was the prior HFI, so that is gone. We still have carryover money from it. And that's similar to Ebola. We just keep it until it's gone. But that also has certain stipulations that I can and can't spend stuff on. And I can't, move something from health to there, back to health, because it's supplanting a rule. We can't do that.
thanks for explaining it. And then, it's like page 22, then it's like,
You missed the preparedness grant. You wanted-
oh, okay.
So the preparedness grant, we did take another cut on that as well. We took a $5,000 cut on that. Pretty simple supplies. The other stuff is just that the maintenance and GPS, things we've had in the past that we have to keep going.
Any questions on that? I don't have. I guess we could go to 22. Like the school crisis grant and
The COAG grant, that was a grant, a 3-year grant we received during COVID. And that we use for mainly right now is the full-time nurse's salary, Kristen. She's our school health liaison. And then we use our PRNs out of there as well for whenever we have flu clinics or drive-throughs. We have to bring PRNs in to run because we don't have enough nurses within the building to do both.
And then the origin on some money there, the differences there, 300 to 300,000.
That's just budgeted just in case we have a catastrophic event that we have to, pay for something out of it. It probably won't be used, but it's just thrown in there to budget.
So it would.
In case there's another COVID issue.
In case there's another outbreak or something and we need a bunch of money, we can pull from there.
Otherwise it would just roll over.
It just rolls over. It's the same thing as the other grants. We use it till it's gone.
It's a considerable amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, this was a blessing to us during COVID. I mean, we probably brought in, it was $440,000 a year. So that will sustain the school health liaison position for hopefully 7-8 years.
So the understanding of for the council, then what the treasurer was talking about, like this type of money, do they hold that for you and invest this?
This can't be invested. We tried, but they won't allow us to because it's a federal.
Grant funds won't let you earn money on their money.
We would like to invest it to get the revenue to offset the cost of our losses each year, but they wouldn't let us.
So this money is actually, would be held by the government yet, or the federal government?
No, we
No,
have,
we have it.
we have it here.
But they won't let you invest?
We can't invest it for him, to earn him more money.
Okay. That seems complicated, but.
Yeah.
Yes, it makes sense.
They don't want you to stockpile their money and earn money on it.
And then the next, the bond trust grant.
Yeah, there's nothing budgeted in there.
And then the health plan immunization grant.
That also got cut. That was $115,000 we lost also. So total this coming budget period, we lost $745,000. That's why I had to move everything around, and this is pretty well bare bones that I could get it to.
Okay. Yes, I think we covered the goal already. Probably. So I don't know, does anyone also have any questions for Sean? I mean, I want this one simpler than I thought.
I mean, just moving it around and make it work, but it's tough, telling people that they don't have a job at the end of the year, but we had no other choice, so. That's a lot of money to come up with one year.
Sorry, I don't know this, but when a position's paid out of a grant and you can no longer guarantee their employment, we pay unemployment insurance. We still do, even though it's a grant funded position.
Well, the county, back in the days, I don't know when, chose to pay as we go. We don't pay the insurance. So if we have somebody who files, we're paying that
Out of
our money.
budget.
Is there a dispute process to go through?
Oh, yeah, we do dispute whatever we can. But we pay it, and we don't have many on it, because most people do get different jobs.
But we lost that case in community corrections, which we didn't think we would lose.
Right, we do lose some. And we do pay.
Sean, I have a question. Could it be budgeted for fuel out of local health
Trust.
Could we budget for fuel out
I
of
mean,
it?
you did last year.
I just wanna make sure I don't remove something here.
What page are you on?
22.
See,
I just don't wanna make sure.
oh, yeah, you did last year.
No, we didn't last year. The reason we don't
I just
try
wanna
to
make
use
sure I
the
don't
trust and maintenance is because it's a kind of a difficult process to get that, because we have to submit a request to the state, it has to go through review, and it's just easier to only put stuff in there that we absolutely have to
Okay.
each year.
I just wanna make sure I don't remove something.
No, I don't think we had fuel in there last year, they're all zeros.
Tried it from the year before.
We had it in HFI last year, I believe.
Yeah, it's a created line item, so those have been budgeted
In-
before.
Probably in the past, yeah.
That's what I.
Before
just
we
wanna
had
make sure.
HFI, I would say that's probably where it
What
was.
is that? I have
Okay.
last year's budget, so I have previous years as well. You wanna see
If last year it had to
We were
be,
talking about the trust.
it had to be an HFI. Prior to that, it was probably in the trust.
Yeah, I'm looking for the future to make sure I don't do something in there.
Because see, now that that's zero, we may not put any of that in the book next year. When it's been zero for 2 years, unless he uses it again next year. We may just put a line item saying the trust is in there, but we're not gonna use any of it.
Depends how much carryover I have from this year's HFI to next year to see what I'll have.
That's why she's
So I'll have to
asking.
almost plan for 2-3 years in advance.
Thank you for the explanations and thanks for coming in.
No problem. Any other questions?
Anybody else?
Thanks for the.
No problem. Have a great day.
Sean.
Henry, are you ready?
Sure.
For We're a little ahead of time, you believe that?
Well, it's a good thing I came over early, then. Keep you guys ahead of schedule. You're welcome to sit up there.
So we're, you would both maybe introduce yourself to the public and then we'll start with 17.
Yep, Tammy Hubbard, Du Bois County EMA Director.
Marissa Zink, Du Bois County EMA Deputy Director.
Thank you for coming this morning. And we'll start with page 17. If you Don't have a whole lot of questions.
Yeah, really, I mean, my budget was turned in with no changes to my working budget, which is really minimal. I didn't add anything to that. I feel like we did fine so far this year, and I didn't see any reason at this point to increase it. The only request that was additional dollars is on the salary.
So we might as well just discuss that. I think, I believe I met with you, I believe most of the.
Everyone,
To discuss your salary in the classification of executive two.
Correct.
Position. I think you laid out, I don't know if you want to, does anybody have questions? Did everybody meet with Tammy? So I mean, we all, I don't know if we want to rehash.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you did a great job laying it out and you know, again, it's and I think Councilman Eagleberry sent us out a email.
Yes, he sits on my advisory board.
What we were recommending and what the
And the advisory board originally recommended a higher amount, and we felt more comfortable with lowering that from their original recommendation. So
Yeah.
I strongly agree and support the amount that is in the budget. Because of years of being in that position, in comparison to other like positions, department heads, and where she's at in that range. And the amount of money she brings back to the county, not only with grants and all that, but also pay reimbursement by meeting several and going above and beyond all of the criteria that they hand out in that 25-page booklet. You guys do almost all of it, which is definitely not required, but
correct.
You guys do in that office go above and beyond and help out other departments along the way in doing so with their grants and everything. Like we get radios for the emergency responders, sheriff's department, and different things in the past. So I would support this and at least urge everybody else to do so as well.
You know, for the public, could you just give a brief overview of what your job entails? You know what I think.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
we want to stay on.
Well, I'm gonna
Good
say,
thing I'm 10 minutes
you know, 'cause you've given us a thing of all the grants.
Right, so that's one of our things, that's one of many that our agency is responsible for. We're responsible for planning, training, and exercising all the emergency responders in Du Bois County. We work on grants to supply the first responders with the equipment that they need to help offset the council so that we're not having to go through our general funds to give them what they need to function. We've done AEDs for all law enforcement in the past. We're currently doing 800 radios for our fire departments. We've equipped police, and then a big thing was our cybersecurity that we just did a couple years ago. So those are the kind of things that we do. Our job is to prepare Du Bois County, not only the county employees, but the citizens of Du Bois County for whatever that incident might be. I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell. So we're an office of two, and we make a great team, and we do the best that we can do to get those people trained and ready to handle any disaster that might hit. That's kind of a
'Cause every time,
synopsis.
you know, I think when the public hears about it, it's usually some kind of.
Yeah, when they hear my name, they know there's something wrong. So, you know, I've never met anyone from the public that I've introduced myself as Tammy Hubbard, and they're like, oh, yeah, I've heard your name. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. But that is typically, but I try to keep the public informed of severe weather coming in or any kind of hazmat incident that might be out in the area. We just do our best to keep everybody notified of what's going on.
And, you know, I guess I sit on the board.
Yeah.
The meeting this afternoon.
This afternoon, yeah.
You know, with all the fire and police,
Yes.
you know, I think the communications there, I always enjoy it, you know. I mean, I think the collaboration.
Yes, we have our county is just great. We have a good team. All the agencies work well together, and it's just, we're very proud to be in Du Bois County, honestly. It'd be hard in some other counties, I think, to be their EMA director.
That's what I was gonna say. I know that that's not the same, even in just our southern area of the state. So they look to us, I think, to be a model for a lot of those exercise decisions. So that's a big
Yeah,
deal.
working relations was my number one priority when I was hired 15 years ago, and I've kept that going and continue to do so.
I think it's important to note that even though you only carry one employee officially underneath your budget, that your work requires working with all different agencies, multiple ones.
Yes.
On a regular basis in terms of emergency planning. I don't take that too lightly. I agree with Doug. I'm inclined to move for the 5%.
I echo their sentiments as well. The time I spent with you was very educational and enlightening. And I know that your contacts go all the way up into the state. So for that, I think Du Bois County can rest assured that you're on top of everything. Should we really need you, and I hope we don't.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Okay, so it's in the budget, the requested salaries. Is anyone against this? Anyone against it or having this? Seeing none, let's move on to page 31.
This is the LPC.
And it's under his local planning. Repeat.
So this is the local emergency planning committee budget, and it is required to go through you guys. We have what I call a working budget, and then we have our total budget. The working budget has stood for the last 15 years at 42,000, and it seems to work fine. We've never had to ask for any additional out of our total funds. Even with large purchases, like we just bought the fire department's a brand new fit test machine, and we were still able to stay under that $42,000 budget. So I just leave it status quo, and that is approved by the LEPC, which Mike, you're aware of that. The budget has to be approved by the members of the LEPC committee, so.
Okay, I don't think I have anything else. If someone else has a question. Okay, well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Got you guys ahead of schedule, right?
Thank you.
Thank you, bud. Thank you. You want this back?
Yes, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Jackie, are you ready? Both like to introduce yourself to the public.
I'm Jackie McFerrin, the county recorder. This is my first chief deputy, Tammy Guth.
Thank you for joining us. I guess we'll start with page 5. I think she's got it laid out for you there.
Okay.
And it'll be under your department report.
Okay, I didn't make any real changes to this. Only thing I added, I think, was
Travel, possibly.
travel was $100 more. It's because I'm now in PREA, which is Property Records Industry Association, and they are more of a national organization rather than just the state of Indiana. So we go and we learn how other states are doing property records and learning from them, and they're learning from Indiana. So it's kind of a shared group. So that's.
Is that nationwide?
Mhm.
I mean, you at one of the meetings?
Yes.
It just provided places.
Right. And I'm also on the ledge committee for the Recorders Association. And just in case we ever get opportunity where they need us to come up to the state house or something like that, you know, to testify or something, so.
Well, thank you for doing that, that's great. Any questions on their budget? Otherwise, seeing none, we move to page 36. It's ID security.
That's just annual, we have to redact every document we do because it's public record. They have to be certain there's no social security numbers anywhere on any of the documents, so we have to run it through redaction. So we have to have that. And that's just a fund that my office collects, and then we use money out of that to pay for the redaction. So we fund that through our fees that we charge.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's not,
Is that an ongoing,
every document we record, $1 goes into that fund.
and you have to make sure there's no identification, social security.
Yes, yeah, that's one of her main jobs every day is to, every document that we did the previous day, she runs it through redaction, make sure there's no social security numbers, because we don't want that to get out to the public.
Okay, that makes, I didn't know that. And then we got elected official training.
It's kind of the same thing. We collect for that as well in our fees, and we fund the elected official training fund, which I think it's recorder, clerk, auditor, treasurer,
Yeah,
surveyor, and all you guys. I fund all that so that we have money to go for training.
Okay.
Out of our fees, we pay, we fund that $1. Every single document we record goes into that fund as well. And then when the county uses it to help pay for training too.
So curiosity to the auditor's office, I mean, you know, like we have ours, training in our budget, I mean, the council budget. So,
If it's a state called meeting, like your meeting in June, I use this fund.
okay, if it's.
If it's just something like AIC dinner, then I use your fund.
Okay.
Yeah, the state called meeting is.
Thanks.
So the district meetings are just ours, and the state ones.
Thanks for explaining that. I didn't know that.
Well, council wasn't in this fund until a couple of years
Just,
ago.
yeah, it's pretty recent. when
They had
added you
4 and
guys.
then they added you all.
We had 5, including us. And then we added you guys. So we fund that fund for you guys. Through our
And when they first made the fund, it was just the elected official. Now they made it the deputy can go too.
Yeah.
So they're kind of opening it.
And then the perpetuation fund, that's what we kind of approved. Your expense, or we gave you permission to spend so much money.
Well, she doesn't need appropriation for that fund, but she did the resolution at one of the last meetings,
Right.
saying she has extra that you guys can budget.
And that pays for all my help in the office for the part-timers.
Okay. All right, thank you. I think that's all.
I have a non-budget question for our schedule. Is there someone with all these thefts of people stealing people's land and selling them, and someone had told me that they talked to the recorder's office and said there's a form that can be filled out that your land cannot be sold without a special.
Well, there is, that's something I have to go before you guys. I had a guy call in a couple weeks ago. And it mostly affects people who own land but don't live in usually or anywhere near it. Like this guy particularly lives in Virginia. And a realtor putting a sign, or a neighbor saw somebody putting a realtor sign in his yard. And the person who asked him to do that, he thought he knew him, so he said this guy had kind of an accent and he knows this guy doesn't. So everything was kind of fishy about the whole thing. So this guy was able to figure out on Google how to get a number to get a hold of him. He finally got a hold of him and the guy said, no, I'm not selling it, never have any intentions of selling this property. So there is a program that's like if I go before you guys, I think we can offer it to the person, I want to say around $149 a year. And then it might be $99 every year after that. If I don't go before you and they just get the program themselves, they have to pay like $350, something like that. No one's requested to do that. We also have the free property fraud, but that happens after the property has been, went through the closing and came to us to record. Once it records, it sends out the email to them or the text now saying, to call into our office because there's been a document that's been recorded, has to do with their land. So that's free, but it's after the fact. But then we would tell them to call the sheriff.
Don't you think that should be on everybody's, like anytime?
We try.
It's unbelievable. These guys are sending us IDs that match everything. They're fake IDs.
Yeah.
I don't know how we combat that. And that is terrifying to me with what's going on. Our offices have a combo, or probably the office you're talking about. But we've had a lot of these mega in the rise. And
Right.
curious of our defense in the recorder office.
Encourage all your people to sign up for the free watch. The other one that does cost money, I think what they do is they'll put a UCC lien on your property, and then therefore there'll be a lien on there. It'd be harder for them to sell that piece of property. But that
How do you
costs
sign up for the free watch?
it's
www.doxpov/property-watch.
something like that. Doxpop.com, and you can go there. DOX.
I'm gonna swing by and grab the form, because I think that would be important and almost might
Isn't it on your
almost
page?
be part of a transaction.
It's on her webpage.
Yeah, it's on my webpage. Just encourage everybody to sign up.
Can we
They don't
not
probably-
make that something that our title companies do at closing is sign?
I would love
up
to.
for these?
And then I also sent it out last year in the tax bills. I was gonna do it again this year, but
I
Craig
think
had
we should
something else.
talk about that later.
Yes.
See if we can
Come
get
see me.
something.
Yeah. Anytime.
That would be good. Okay,
That's
sorry.
gonna be my feedback to you, that you presented that really well. I think I signed up for it, and it works like a charm. I get the emails every time. And then on what Ryan's talking about, on those transactions, you could maybe do announcement, because I've looked into this, and there's someone that almost was defrauded. You have to wire the money out of the country.
Yeah.
It is not a US transaction. I mean, these people, they get everything right on forged documents, but on the money, it has to leave the country. So that should be a huge red flag for anybody that's transferred.
Good thing we're kind of a smaller community. The more people that sign up, the more the word will be out that
Yes.
you gotta be careful because they might have fraud watch on their property.
But it
So
wasn't
hopefully.
absentee anymore. Like you said.
Sorry.
That's good. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Appreciate it, guys.
Good information.
Yeah, you don't get to just doing that cash. A title watch or some sort of.
We are.
See, we're just supposed to go to 11.
I know, but I mean, we are way ahead. You can take them out of order if you want. Angie won't be here. I mean, Angie's 10:50.
So, do you mind if we just go ahead and solve
Let's
it?
do it.
Chair's not here yet.
Well, let's just-
Does she want me to wait for her?
Yeah, let's wait.
Yeah, she's supposed to be coming.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
Any real estate transaction moves to there.
Oh, yeah. I know, that's a big change. Big change.
They wanted our itinerary before August. Before we went against the look, it was tough. I know, I just wanted We've been trying to get it away for years. And now it has to happen. And then I just keep it like that for 2 years. So why does it happen? Just the states? I don't know that answer. It'll be something
Yeah, that's.
for all of us. And I believe today's order, so when you look at this past year, it shows you kind of moving stuff.
I've never
So
had.
we tried to hold like Sunday.
Because you're
And
sure.
I restrict things for sure.
We're running ahead. Well, I'll be here. So
When does that happen?
I don't know, life just goes good, I guess. Nobody wants to talk on camera, I don't know.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, can you introduce yourself for the?
Angie Geisler, Du Bois County Assessor.
Thank you. We'll start on page 9. I think that should be in front of you there. So we'll just go through your budget item. We want to start it out, I think you gave everyone a percent of raise that we requested or allowed.
Right.
And then my first question, I guess, is the new hire training.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that or your request there.
Next year I'll have, my first deputy is going to be retiring at the end of the year. So best circumstance for my office would be to hire someone in maybe 3 months before, for training and to transition into Jackie's position. So that we have that person ready to go when Jackie's leaving, when she's gone.
Do you think, I guess in the past, I know we've shadowed a lot of jobs.
Mhm.
guess my concern was, does that take commissioner approval? That you're kind of creating a partial position?
I don't know.
And then the other thing is, does it take
I
that
think I
long? I
would
mean,
have to-
$14,000 seems to be a lot of money, especially this year and the next couple of years. You know, I just wonder if that's all necessary or, I mean,
Well,
I can see it.
shadowing is definitely necessary because I do not have any backup employees in my office to start learning that job prior to Jack's leaving, because everyone has their designated job. And, you know, I don't have extra employees just laying around to say, hey, yeah, you learn this job. So the shadowing is definitely necessary, because it's not a position that you can come in 2 weeks and know the job. There's a lot more to it, and to keep the records correct and all the transfers and, you know, all the stuff for the county, to keep that correct, you need qualified, educated, trained people at all times, not someone that comes in and say, okay, well, I don't really know what's going on here, but I'll learn it as I go. That's not the way to conduct business. You know, any other business, you know, out in the private sector wouldn't do things like that. So I wouldn't think the county would want to do that either.
And you know, I'm just questioning, because it is a lot of money. And,
For a short period of time, yeah. It's not temporary, it's not continuing. You know, it's just for a short period of time, you know, to transition someone from, you know, to transition somebody into that position. So, you know, it's a lot of money, but is it necessary? I feel it is. You know, I don't come in here and ask for additional employees, or I don't ask for additional help. But this time, it's a one-time deal, you know. I haven't had a lot of turnover, and I have someone retiring now. And that comes along with a lot of experience. And it's someone that you need to cover and make sure that when that person's gone, we have an employee that has been adequately trained and is ready to take on the position.
well, like I say, I just appreciate the explanation. I don't know if anyone else.
So at that rate of pay for that amount, you're talking 16 weeks?
Yes. I got eight pays in there, yeah. And I don't know if I have anybody right away in 3 months, but I wanted it in the budget whenever, you know, I do get that person. But I would say anywhere between 3 and 2 months, I'm gonna hopefully have someone.
So you're talking possibly around the 1st of September of next year.
Right. Right.
Any comments from the council on that? I mean, I don't know if that takes a commissioner approval, you know, to have a temporary position for 3 months.
I think it probably would, because you're creating a position.
So, I mean, I guess we could, as a council here, we could approve it pending the commissioner's approval.
You're creating that position.
Or temporary position.
Now, if you don't want to use county general, could we use property reassessment money? I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Is there money in that fund then, or would there be sufficient funds to do that?
I'm just throwing out another option.
Well, I mean, that would help, you know, the general fund, which, you know, is being,
Now, the reassessment fund is a tax rate fund too, so,
Right.
I mean, it's still against our levy.
I'm sorry.
The reassessment fund is also a tax rate fund, so you're still within, I mean, it's still gonna be against our levy.
Okay. It's not like a perpetuation fund that we're raising.
Well, this is the first time I've ever done this, so I didn't really know. You know, I asked, you know, the auditor how to do this, you know, and.
Right, you gotta bear with us, you know what I'm saying?
Right, because I know that's been done in the past, so,
So is,
Maybe not for that long of a time period, but they have done it.
okay.
I mean, usually, that's why I was thinking.
Usually do it in a
3
couple
months is a
weeks,
long time, but, if that's what you think it takes, I
A
would.
month.
Well, I just want to be prepared, because I
It's
just,
also the best case scenario,
Huh?
assuming you find someone day one,
Right, right.
So would I guess, as far as the council is concerned, would anyone have an issue with possibly approving that line item with the exception that the commissioners would have to approve the position?
I just don't see, just a couple week late, overlay of employees. That would be tough to get someone trained into her position in 2
In a shorter position, you mean, or a
Yeah.
shorter timeframe?
Yeah.
Because, whoever's retiring here is probably gonna have to be paid out, if they got comp time or whatever.
Right, which she doesn't have any comp time, so.
Now, would this person have to complete their level training during this time period?
Which that would be a problem, that would be a goal, definitely to get her level 2, yes.
So would you have to increase the level 2 training then?
Not until they get it,
I just want to,
which,
She won't get
Isn't
it in
that
those 8 Ks, right?
no,
Is what, yeah.
no, or he, or whoever.
When, that's a good question, when these level 1 and 2, does the county pay for that training?
Yeah.
Or does the individual pay for that training?
County, well, there's no fee for the training itself. You pay them their, salary, their time.
Is that away from here, like school, or?
It's typically done online, for the level 1. There are classes you can go to, like a conference, and go to class, actual in-person class for the week, and then take the test at the end of the week. So that would be within working hours. So there's no additional,
They're just being paid the regular rate.
right, they're
away
just
from-
getting paid their salary.
And is it a requirement that you have to be like a level 1 person after so much time to work in that office?
There's not any stipulation as far as timeline. That would they would have to be a level 2 before they can actually do any actual assessing duties.
So it's off of the duties that they need to do, not the time that they've been in the office.
Excuse me, sorry.
It's off of the duties that they would need to be required to do, not the time that they've been in the office.
Right, right.
So some
Right.
people get it quicker than others, so they can just go and
Well,
do the assessments at their earlier point there.
my, what I prefer is that whenever I have a new hire, that is like the first priority, is for them to get their level 1, level 2. Just because it gives them a good knowledge of the office, it gives them knowledge of the assessment process, what all goes into the assessment. It just helps them learn, the aspects of the office, because it's not just, it's kind of a unique situation where this isn't just like any other type of business. It's very specific information. You don't go to college to learn how to assess property. It's just very specific. So,
Are there any educational requirements, maybe not specific, to that, but that we have as a part of the world?
as far as any like degree, no. No?
Just even general.
Right, yes.
Okay, I think, so the understanding is that, it sounds like the council would approve the funding line item there. And it be pending, that you're, get permission or approval from the commissioners.
Okay.
If they have to create a new position. So then we'll move on to the property tax assessment board of appeals. And again, I don't see much. Salaries went up, or they actually went down. Why is that?
The 26 days.
On the amount of the salaries for the 3 members, it seems like it went down.
Oh, yeah, I decreased the budget. but their amount per day, I added the 2% and then I just rounded it up to $200 a day. But I decreased the overall budget because I don't use it.
Okay.
Typically, knock on wood, we haven't had to have that many meetings. We've been able to get things resolved in-house and not as much expenditure for salaries for the PETA board.
Well, thank you. And then page 36. So I can property tax reassessment. Property reassessment. Again, I don't see a lot of change there.
No,
Seems like most.
I might have tried to take, reduce some of the funds just because, looked in past history and just haven't been using it. So, tried to lower some funds where I felt we could.
It looks like it's come down, about 4,000, a little over 4,000.
Which, if you take into consent, if you look at my overall budgets and look at what I'm asking for my temporary part-time, it's pretty close.
And then,
It's not like I was trying to get more money. I tried to reduce to kind of make it balance out a little bit.
appreciate that. And then, on page 37, I guess we've got, sales disclosure.
Yeah.
It doesn't amount, not really any change there, so.
No change on that.
Okay, I think unless the council has other questions for me. Again, don't, I think the questions we ask are, I'm not trying to be critical, I'm just saying, so we have an understanding as a council, because this is something a little bit unusual for us too. To be, so.
Right. I understand
So, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else has anything, so.
No, thank you for being conscientious when you put together your budget.
that. Okay, no problem. Okay, you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And soil and water, well, we got 3 seats up here, but you're welcome to all join us.
Just be careful of the plug-in over there.
So, it looks like it's basically, there's a sheet there, page 5 of our budget proposal. So,
That's what we take all your stuff and put it in.
And put it in here, yeah.
pretty simple, I don't have a whole lot to ask here. I mean, it seems like you've raised the salaries to 2%. And,
Yes.
basically, not a whole lot has changed, so.
Correct.
You want to give us a little, maybe unless someone has questions, maybe give us a little update what's going on with the solid water. I know the federal government was wanting to maybe take away your lease or whatever they wanted to do there.
Yeah, we still have not heard anything from the standpoint of the government. We've not been asked to vacate yet. We are still developing a plan with the Du Bois County 4-H Council. They were wanting to explore some of their expenses and get back with us from the standpoint of utilities and figure out if we did accommodate or move into the building that used to be, it's at the top of the hill there, the bookmobile building, as I call it. How do we do that? They're still researching and have not gotten back with us, to my knowledge. I don't know, Veronica.
Kayla, they haven't been back with you, I assume, so.
So, yeah, I think the gal that handles that had been sick, and then fair came and whatnot. So, we're still waiting there. But so far, we've not heard anything from the federal government, so we're hoping we don't hear anything. But at the same time, we've been asked to try to develop that plan, and so we are trying to do that. We are just waiting on council right now, 4-H council. So, yeah.
Okay. That's the only question I had noted, so I don't know, if anyone has anything to address soil and water? Otherwise, I
So
don't
if
know.
you'd have to go in there, would your budget have to, I mean, because you don't have
More
like
than likely.
utilities and all that.
We don't, and we would have to come back and revisit, because our expenses would change. Right now, we're not paying any rental expense for, using the, I'm gonna term it the federal
Yeah.
building. So there's a lot of things that go with that, and if we are asked to move out, obviously expenses would increase. So, but how do you present a budget with the unknown at this point? So, yeah, it could be problematic next year if something would happen. Again, we are trying to work on it, but we're just waiting on 4-H Council to get back with us, so we have some measure of what those expenses might be and what the council would need. So, and once we get those and have a chance to review and agree as both entities, we would then come back to you all and the commissioners and discuss to see how can we accommodate this. So it will definitely have an impact if it would happen.
I can see that, hopefully they would be, give you sufficient time to make a change.
Yeah.
So,
Appreciate the question though, very much. It is a concern for us for sure. So.
Okay, I think that's all we have. So thanks for coming in.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We appreciate everything you all do.
You got to keep that little sheet I had. Ambulance subsidy one. That's.
Is that it? That's it?
I had something for this. No.
No.
That's what's bad when you don't have stuff put together here. I had these like this and I had ambulance and that all the years. It's a subsidy.
I didn't see that one.
Did you see that? That's the subsidy we paid for. You know, he's next here, so.
Oh.
That's what we get in different years. You can see the last couple of years they dropped, they went to zero and we couldn't, so. Great for the county.
Yeah.
He was going, he thought the previous. I think Ryan was, remember when he came in, I think he came in and said that he didn't think they were going high enough for Medicare amounts. And that's why we went to see her. But now, I don't know, maybe can see this. You know.
I remember him saying that.
You know, but I mean, you know, I'll show you the sheet here that I want to show that.
Yeah. Yes.
Practice training, but this is what we used to take. I mean, in the past. You know, I looked at all our budget books, you know, that's what. You know, and that's.
He came on in 23 or 22. That would have been previous already getting, figuring it out and realizing, that's how it is. So that last year.
Then we probably not much we can do about it. It should be twice that.
Twice the.
Alrighty, we're running ahead.
Please leave out subsidy.
He's not, he's not eligible.
Can take a picture of this?
Oh, I think so, that's what, you can do whatever you want. She and I share, you don't have to get whatever you want, thank you, we're one and the same here. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna take a picture, I don't have the smart back as that.
Well, not too bad, Harry.
Thank you. Yeah.
Did you sign?
The three of us, like, you know.
And we'll be right with you, got a couple people in this.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't, I had, say, how do you?
No, I'll just use the.
Yeah.
I think my phone goes first.
Yeah, I will try, they're handy, so I want to see what you have. Oh, no, it's not bad, appreciate it. I see my wall ones at home, so I always know it's 6, I don't know, it's 9, just always say these on the go, because we see it as a charter. It's like, why? It's not even against the kids.
I'm on that. Anytime we go on vacation or something like that, I make sure we have, I think that's probably like 5 or 6 months.
Well, such as you did at Disney, I was gonna say, you have to have those, because I experienced that, the terrible when the kids were really, really small, it's kind of before a lot of this is really popular. I mean, I didn't realize how much like on the range, you know, with that.
You gotta use the app.
I had to like, my youngest is really small, so I was feeding her, I'm like, I had to like find, I was like in a random, I had to go find a plug, you know, I'm just sitting there like,
Well, they do have those fuel rods that you can.
yeah, this was like years ago,
We
but.
never do that. Yeah, I realized like, it's huge when it's like. They get 7 charges on it, so that.
Oh, okay.
lasts throughout the day.
That's great.
It's not as, it takes longer. to
And it's
charge.
hard, they're convenient, but small, you know,
Yeah.
easy to pass and stuff, but yeah, they're really,
Yeah,
really.
we do it on the plane, just plug it in. For all of our stuff.
Let's go.
How are you? To charge back up though, sometimes, they take a while to charge back up at times.
Keep everyone ready. Ryan?
I think
If
so.
we'll start on, I think we kind of get page 18, if that's the budget book, I know you passed on budget estimate also.
Okay.
So, I think, you want to go through line item, why don't you go through line item, there's not that many here.
Okay.
Explain.
So the coordinator assistant is just the standard, I think it was what, 2% that you had sent out.
I think on your paper you just handed out, you have 26 pays versus 27 pays next year.
Okay.
So that might be the difference we're looking at.
Okay.
31,
Yeah, that's-
139.
Okay.
I think that's correct. No,
Ours is right.
he's.
Oh, got it, sorry, yeah.
And then, uniforms, they went down pretty a lot.
That decreased because Deaconess are paid for the uniforms now. So they're moving that to their budget. We kept 2,000 in there just to be safe. Their budget was not 10, it was 4, so we kept 2 in there just to kind of, just in case. I don't know that we'll use any of that, but.
I don't want to trouble nitpicking it, but I mean, is this, will they be charging us back for that then through our subsidy to uniform these people?
Basically, yeah, at the end of the day, yeah.
Okay.
From that standpoint, yeah. The idea was to move things over and not have the subsidy. But
I mean, that's fine, I'm just kind of curious.
Yep. Repairs, I think we can keep the same. This year, we've had a few repairs that we wouldn't normally have. We had to replace a transmission, a fuel injector went out, we had to replace it. So I think we may end up having to add some money to this year's budget. But we're still on the same cycle of truck replacement, so 60,000 was good the last year. I think it's gonna be close this year, but we may have to add a little bit more, so I think we're, as we continue to get rid of the trucks that we're having trouble with, those repair costs should go down. So the subsidy, I had a meeting with them. In reality, the subsidy should be around 820,000. This being the first year with Deaconess and the fact that we didn't have a subsidy last year, a lot of things have changed. So moving to Deaconess EMS, we had to reapply for a Medicare license. We had to reapply for a Medicaid license. So when you do that, until they approve your license and do your site visit, you cannot bill anything. So we had claims from October. We finally got the approval on the site visit in like February, and then got the go-ahead that we could release those claims from back into October and March. So we're just now starting to get revenue from that. They have projected numbers on what they think we'll get. And so that's kind of been an issue. Medicare just released in June, I believe, early June, late May, early June. So we're finally able to bill Medicaid. We can again bill back to that October 1st date, but we just haven't got the revenue for that. And we can project what we're gonna get, but we don't know that that's what we'll get. So there's things like that. One of the big things is, so whenever we were billing in the hospital, our PFS, our Patient Financial Services, took care of that, and we didn't get charged for any of that. That was just part of the doing business. Now that we've moved to Deaconess, they use a separate company, which will increase your income, but you have to pay them a portion for their billing services. So that's an additional cost that we didn't have last year. And then really the big thing is fringe benefits. So the hospital chose not to charge the departments for fringe benefits, meaning what you pay for the employee's health, what you pay for their insurance, what you pay for their 401k, all those type things. Deaconess does do that for each department of their system. So that was a pretty big number. So that's why the subsidy number's higher. It's just difference in how they do business versus how Memorial did business before.
Was that known when the commissioner signed the contract?
I don't know that it wasn't spelled out.
It seemed general to me.
It was general, here's the expenses, here's the revenue. You deduct the revenue from the expenses, and if you're in a loss, then you pay for the loss. And I think that was what we had with the contract with the hospital, but the hospital was under the understanding they did business differently than what Deaconess does business. So again, that first year to try to figure everything out, that's why they came back and said, we'll split it with you. So it's not that big of a hit this year, but no, next year that it's probably going to be closer to this. So
this 410,000, does that finish up this year? Or
Yes.
does that just go into next year?
it finishes this year. So you kind of pay like your taxes, you kind of pay a year behind. So we have the year, see where we're at the end of the fiscal year, and then budget into that, hey, your subsidy should be, so in January, we would pay the 400,000, or in February, I think the first week in
First pay,
February.
we don't pay.
We would pay that would take care of the previous year's subsidy.
Paying in arrears.
So-
So we're gonna incur about 820,000 starting in January. I mean, we're gonna owe it, just don't pay it till the following year.
Right.
It's a big change.
Yeah, and we used to pay that monthly. divide it out and pay it monthly, but I think they changed, I think Chad wanted to just make one payment and be done with it for the year. So that's what they had decided.
Yeah, I guess that was Chad's decision. I don't know, I wasn't in on that
Yeah, that's
discussion.
what, they had requested that instead of making 12 payments.
Now, you said benefits, so are the EMS drivers full-time?
Yes.
You know, the one thing that I thought with the subsidies is I know the one things I get from everyone is that there's delays because the ambulances are being run in Evansville and out of town. Deaconess is making a run routes in Evansville. And I'm hearing that from people, I don't know if it's true or not. But people are saying they have to wait on ambulances. And if that is true, that to me would be a really big problem if we're not subsidizing anything of that.
Well, the answer to your question is no, they're not being ran in Evansville. There's times where they have transfers available and they call and say, hey, can you help? And if we have a truck available, we would send the truck. But we've actually made almost $82,000 that goes against the subsidy by doing those things.
Can you make 800?
We could.
How many more ambulances you wanna buy?
What's the biggest difference, you know, on these ones that are doing these mega routes? I understand the differences, but why could we not have some vans? Why do they all have to be full-blown ambulances? I only say this because I was in DC, almost got ran over by a van. I mean, you think, those probably aren't 2-year lead times.
You know, those vans, you're gonna get about 100,000 miles on them, and you're gonna have to replace them. So you're gonna spend probably 200,000 for a van, and most of them are gas.
They're not diesels?
No.
And that's all you're gonna get is 100 out of them?
Yeah,
I was just
typically,
curious, 'cause it seems like-
you'll have to replace an engine at 150, depending on how.
I was thinking of diesels, and we could get 300.
No, not usually.
Yeah, I just thought it was an alternative with all these problems we're having. It doesn't seem like it's gonna get any better, just something that's even been discussed or thought of. Not worth it, not
Not
cost
really worth
effective with.
No, they're so much smaller than the box, and so you really, if you're not doing a whole lot, then I would say, yeah, it's probably okay. If you're just doing local transports and that type thing, take backs to the nursing home, stuff like that, it would be okay.
Don't we do a lot of that?
We do some. We've started a wheelchair van, and so that has decreased some of those transports. You're not going to get paid for those, probably regardless. Sometimes you do if the facility is willing to pay. So we kind of deal with the facilities a lot that, hey, we can't get this patient over here. Insurance isn't going to pay for it. So if you want to pay us to do it, we'll do it. But you're going to have to commit to paying for us, and sometimes they do. And so those are the ones you're like, yeah, I'll take those all day. Some of the Evansville transports are the same. So if we take, for instance, if Cross Point's full and we bring a patient up here to Memorial, we'll bill Cross Point. Cross Point will pay us the full amount. And so those are the ones that those facility pays, like you want to do those all day long because you're going to get paid for them. Versus the insurance, we've struggled with your tax or you're controlled by the government. So we kind of use this analogy. It would be like in your real estate, the government comes in and says you can sell houses, but you're only going to sell them by the square foot, and you can only charge X amount for the square footage of a house, no matter if it's got marble floors and all this expensive stuff in it. You only get X amount of money, and then you have to kind of figure out how you're going to do that. So the cost of everything is increased. The employees have increased. The technology has increased. The ambulance cost, as you look at the subsidies for the last 10 years, the ambulance at 2015 was probably 200,000. Now it's 400,000. How do you make that difference whenever the government's telling you you're only going to get X amount of dollars for transport? So as the revenue continues to stay the same and the cost of everything doubles and triples, you got to be able to balance that, and it's hard to do that. I think there's opportunities that we can do stuff. It's all dependent on for instance, I had a conversation with Chad a few months back about refusals, lift assist. So we get paid to probably 30% of our runs are lifts assist. If they don't go to the hospital, we don't bill anything because they don't turn into their insurance. Other agencies are billing for that. They bill the individual. You call for an ambulance, it's $300. Whether you go to the hospital, if you go to the hospital, we'll bill your insurance. If you don't go to the hospital, you're gonna owe the ambulance.
Why don't we
service
do
to them. We just have never done that. It's hard to do that whenever maybe you're in a car wreck, it didn't call for the ambulance, but maybe the police did, maybe somebody else did, the ambulance shows up. Now I'm gonna say you owe me $300. Well, I didn't ask for this, so there's kind of some caveats to that, but those people that do make the call, they bill. Give you an example how we had a run here a few months back where it was a newborn baby choking. New parents, they got excited, called 911. We get there, the baby's fine. We'll take that every day. But how do you tell that parent, okay, now you owe us $300? So what's that going to do? Then the parent's going to be like, well, I'm not calling next time. I'm just going to throw them in the backseat of the car and drive like heck to the hospital. That's probably not the right approach to take either. So how do you, we may.
Because if you don't charge, you get simple things that are very minor.
Right.
Again, it's a hard balance.
Yeah. So, I almost think we're at a point now with this that we take a hard look at charging, like I said, other neighboring services are doing it. Maybe that cuts down on some of the nonsense calls, which I think would be okay. You're using less resources at that point. To your point, you're having more ambulances available. But I guess to answer your original question, we always have 2 ambulances in the county at all times for 911 calls. Where you make your money is you're going to make your money on transfers because you're paying the crew already, whether they're going anywhere or not. The only thing you're out is fuel. And if everything has been done on that patient and you're transporting them from, say, Memorial to Gateway, like you can charge, there's 4 different charges, but you can charge usually advanced level charges because they're going for advanced care. But you don't have the supply charges you use. So somebody goes into cardiac arrest right here in the courthouse, we respond, we may use $500-600 worth of supplies on that one patient. We're not going to use that on the patient that's already in the hospital because all that's already been done.
Yeah.
So basically you're deducting that part. So you're going to make more money on those transfers. And to the point of the transports that we've done out of Evansville, we've made $81,000 off of. And that was from a couple months back. So, does it happen every week? No, maybe once, twice every other week, maybe. It's not a whole lot of volume, but we've made some good money doing that.
But in general, the reimbursement rates have not gone up in many years. I think you said
Right.
once, right? So
Right.
that's also a issue, I guess.
Yeah. And, it's not getting easy for any of the government agencies, And so how do you continue, when you look at it as a business, how do you continue to put money to the business, pay your employees when your revenue's decreasing and your overhead's increasing? You're not going to survive very long on that. And so that's why the subsidy comes into play. Should we have had a subsidy the last few years? Maybe. They'll tell you, yes, that you should have. But I'll stand with what I said. And I think, from the hospital side that it worked out the way it worked out. And, really, this is just the difference in how they do business. It's more of a business model versus
And it's helped the county.
Yeah.
I think it's a good relationship. It's a good thing. Just got to make it work.
Yeah. When I talked to Chad last week, we discussed the public safety tax. Maybe that's something that you have to revisit to help with this. But the other option is you cut an ambulance. I don't think that's the right option. I can tell you 2 to 3 times a month, my phone rings and it's Stuart, hey, you're out of ambulances. What are we going to do? And we have to rely on other counties to come in because we have probably 2 to 3 times a month.
2 to 3 times a month, okay.
So, and there's times where it's all 911 calls. We have nobody out on transfers and we have 4 911 calls within a matter of 20 minutes and we're out of ambulances. you know? Now, on the flip side of that, you can't go all the way overboard and say, we're gonna have 10 ambulances on no matter what. I mean, you have to have an equilibrium, a balance of, that's too much, but this is not enough. And I feel like we're probably right in that arena. They would tell you the Du Bois crew is probably the crew that doesn't get as the run volume, but you know, I'm gonna rebuke that and say, but in the fall and the spring and the summertime, where's most of your population at in Du Bois County? Patoka Lake.
Yeah.
And so do you want an ambulance 25 minutes away, or do you want an ambulance, 10 or 15 minutes away? So, I think those are things that you have to look at, public service versus business. How you've got to have that equilibrium.
I still think it would be wise to have some type of fee, maybe not even 300, but let's say 150.
Mhm.
And I think if I call an ambulance, I'm expected to pay.
Yeah.
Right? I just love that they show up, and to have them to continue to show up,
Yeah.
we may need to have a fee.
Yeah.
But.
And so I think that's things we have to discuss and talk about.
How does that work when someone else has to come as backup to help us? How do we get charged for that? When these times, the 2 to 3 times a month when.
We wouldn't charge because they're taking the patient and they're billing
And
for
they're
the
billing
patient,
for it, so.
just as we're doing the same thing.
It's just that there's an agreement, like interlocal type of
Yeah,
agreement.
just a
that-
mutual aid agreement that they'll help
Okay.
out if they
But
have
we
a
don't
truck.
sign anything with the counties or anything like that.
No. But the caveat is, we run 4 during the day and 5 at night. Some of the other surrounding counties only run 1. So we do go into Paoli a lot. We go to Spencer County at times. We do a lot, sometimes we go into Crawford County to help. And we'll probably do that 3 to 4 times a month. Martin County is another one. Now, if we intercept with them, then we'll bill them for that. We'll bill Martin County for that. But if we're going and meaning if they start patient care and transport to the hospital, and because they don't have a paramedic jumps in with them, then we will bill Martin County for that paramedic service. Because Martin County is going to bill the patient because they're transporting the patient. But if they don't have an ambulance and we go into Orange County, say to French Lick, and pick somebody up and transport them, we're billing that patient because our service is the one that's doing the entirety.
How is the ambulance doing that remove the box?
So we have 2 now that are remounted. They're doing well. We're having a few issues here and there with it, but I think that's the way to go.
That's what I don't remember if we've seen it this year. I don't remember if you've handed us the sheets on the status of our ambulances, where they're at, what the game plan is. Have we done that yet?
We have not. I've got it, so I can tell you. So as you look at the budget, you'll see there's not an ambulance budgeted for this one because of the COVID. We're still on our yearly replacement, but because it was taking 3 years to get a new ambulance, 18 months to get a remount, now that time has decreased. So we can lay out a year from the ambulance perspective and still replace one every year at this point.
And so we're replacing the chassis.
Yeah, using the box. Usually you can get 2 uses out of the box. So
You do have that in the CUME fund. We moved the equipment to CUME fund.
Right.
So go to page 39 for the CUME fund for his ambulance. I didn't put that on that sheet, and I should.
Where that baby was.
So we have 1 ambulance that's on order right now for a new ambulance, and that will be delivered mid next year. And then we had budgeted in last year's budget to do another remount. So I'm on the agenda for the next commissioners meeting to start the bidding process for that. And that would be at 2026 is a new one. This would be for 2027.
Do we have to pay to wrap those things? Is that coming out of our funds? to
It's
wrap
in the cost of it's in the cost of the
ambulance and stuff.
Yeah.
So so I understand that the ambulance equipment, 496,000, is that for the one that that's for the one that's being remounted? 2020, that's gonna be paid for in 2026, right? In June.
Yes. So basically, in the current budget that we have the 490,000 from the previous that was moved over, correct, from,
Well, 470,000, if you see this column here, it's the current year. Here's the current. This is what you're asking for next year.
okay. Yes, and so that is for, not for an ambulance, but that's for monitors. So we laid out an ambulance and we gonna have to start replacing the monitors because they're 10 years plus old.
And is that for some of this sheet?
And that's what the 496 is, yes,
Yeah.
correct.
So that's the. Is that the Lucas devices and all that?
The monitors, Lucas devices, yes.
So
And then there's some batteries.
This seems, time flies pretty fast. This seems like we bought those.
Those are for the fire departments, yeah, not for the ambulances. So the ones are.
Don't we interchange them though? I thought that was kind of the understanding, is we all were on the same page and the ambulance may get one of our devices and we, they kind of circulate, or no, not at all?
Not with the equipment, no. The AEDs we do that with.
But if a Lucas was on a patient being transferred, you would take it off the patient and put a hospital one on?
Not necessarily, no. We wouldn't. We would continue that if the patient was still in cardiac arrest. We wouldn't take it off.
And then the fire department gets it back later?
Yeah.
Somebody made that comment already that they would train them back later at a different time.
Yeah.
That's what I thought when we ordered that. That was kind of the arrangement, interchangeable, same device.
Same device, yes. Yeah. The problem is the device that they have is a newer version. And so the device that we have is 10 years old.
Yeah, don't be switching us out with them.
Yeah, we can still use those. But yeah, they aren't, anything technology wise, when you hit the 7-year mark, it's like we don't service those anymore. You're gonna have to buy new. If something major goes wrong with it, you're just gonna have to replace it. And so that's kind of where we're getting with both the monitors and the Lucas devices.
That's the biggest expense in the whole thing here, is the monitors.
Yes, yeah. Technology.
Wow.
Yeah. Technology, insurance, and pharmaceuticals are what kills us in healthcare.
Gotta have it, I guess.
Yeah. What do you do? Again, you're at the mercy of the rising cost, but no increase in revenue. You really almost have a decrease in revenue.
I appreciate you answering questions.
Well, as Chad's point was, I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with this, but I don't know what you do about it. I think we just have to look at other avenues that we can do to help support it. Otherwise, we're not gonna.
There was, I don't know if the legislature changed that, but there was an ambulance tax that you can, and I don't know if we would qualify for that because we're supporting the ambulance.
Right.
Service. I don't know if we can, but that's something, but all that lit tax, that's not another lit tax, that's all gonna change here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not something we could hang our head on right now.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, but something to think about for the future, definitely.
Well, thank you. Any other questions for Ron? I want to thank you for coming in and explaining it.
All right, thank you.
At some point, it would be good to meet up at a meeting, maybe just a 10-minute update of how our fleet is again.
Okay.
I like that, just knowing where we're at.
Yeah, sure. I can get you the age, mileage.
It's
all
a
that
nice
kind of
sheet.
stuff.
It's great.
Yeah, I'll get that.
They meet on the 25th of this month, and then they meet again on 27th of September, whatever the Monday, I don't know. Don't quote me on that day.
So let me just update the chief. I'll send it to Sandy and she can send it to all you and I'll show up if you have questions.
Well, thanks, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
I guess we'll, any other questions? Otherwise, we'll close the meeting or not.
We'll
close the
recess.
meeting, We'll recess the meeting for lunch.
Okay.
And be back at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Roughly speaking.
Yep.
As soon as we can. So, I guess we'll get started. We're excited for it. We'll be.
Sounds good.